Chapter 1506. Waves of commotion rose in the city of ancient emperors. However, during this period of time, Qin Wendian was extremely carefree. In this place, there were only him and Jun Mingchen, Jidi's followers, and the Namhuang clan around him. Truly, he was surrounded by beauties and was extremely happy. They weren't in a hurry to cultivate. Everyone knew that Qin Wendian had to go there, and many people were silently worried for him. At this moment, Qin Wendian was lying on a gigantic boulder on an ancient mountain, staring at the Tao elements cascading down from the air. His eyes were incomparably deep, as resplendent as the constellations in the night sky. The sound of footsteps rang out. A beautiful figure leaped onto the boulder and sat down beside Qin Wendian. She had a sweet face and her long hair hung down in front of Qin Wendian. One could even smell a faint fragrance wafting from her. This woman was none other than immortal King Junyi. During these days, she was clearly trying to get close to Qin Wendian. Right now, the people around her all knew what was going on. Junior's sister Junyi has fallen. From afar, Jidi's followers sat together, smiling as they stared in that direction. But the saber-sword immortal king has yet to express his stance. Although he is polite, he gives off a sense of distance, as though he is intentionally distancing himself from her. "I'm somewhat worried." A female sighed. This saber-sword immortal king has a different gaze when he looks at junior sister Qin. Sigh, "I'm afraid junior sister Junyi doesn't have much hope." Someone glanced at Qin. Qin lowered her head. It wasn't too good for her to reveal Qin Wendian's identity. It wasn't that she didn't trust her fellow apprentice sisters, but if she said it out loud, all Jidi's followers would know about it. If this was leaked, she knew how severe the consequences would be. Qin Wendian had offended too many people using his identity as the saber-sword immortal king. And this time around, senior sister Junyi seemed to be truly moved, wanting to get closer to Qin Wendian. She was very proactive and everyone could tell her feelings. Qin Wendian was also depressed. He didn't expect to meet a woman like Junyi. He couldn't help but transmit his voice to Qin. Qin, what should we do? You're the one who caused this. Why are you asking me? Qin replied with a trace of resentment. Qin Wendian felt wronged and said gloomily, Qin, I'm innocent too. Qinger's eyes flashed. She knew that it wasn't anyone's fault, so she could only say, "Senior sister has a cheerful personality. This is her sincerity. Otherwise, she wouldn't have acted like this. I don't want senior sister to be hurt. As time passes, she would naturally understand my attitude. If not, we can only wait until we leave the city of ancient emperors and the saber-sword immortal king vanishes from this world." Qin Wendian sighed. He could feel many cold eyes staring at him. He could only smile bitterly in his heart. "Do you hate me? Do you feel that I'm too casual?" Junyi hugged her knees, her beautiful eyes staring at the scenery ahead as she softly spoke. "How can that be? Immortal King Junyi is so beautiful, I naturally only admire you." Qin Wendian's heart trembled as he calmly replied, "My fellow apprentice sisters must be laughing at me." Immortal King Junyi didn't seem to have heard it. She continued to mumble to herself, "It's nothing much. After cultivating for so many years, although I have many sisters with me, I would still feel lonely sometimes. It's just that I've never been able to find a suitable Tao companion. Your appearance gave me a different feeling. However, I know that although my looks are not bad, there's still a distance between me and junior sister Qin. Let alone a character like you, only peak-level beauties would be able to match up to you." Qin Wendian perspired. He didn't expect that even immortal King Junyi could tell that he liked Qin. From afar, the disciples of Ji Chang's Gate and Namhuang clan all inclined their heads and stared over. Junyi didn't conceal her voice. They naturally heard it. "Junior sister." Some of Jidi's followers stood up and called out, "Senior martial sister." Were also called out in a crisp voice. "It's fine, I'm just speaking my mind. There's no need to worry about me." Junyi turned her head and smiled at her fellow apprentice sisters. After that, she spoke to Qin Wendian who was beside her. "Junior sister Qin's background is good, her talent is good and she's also beautiful. Anyone would like her." It's just that she already has someone she loves. Why is it that your gaze when you look at her is different? And why are you avoiding my gaze? Immortal King Junyi, there are some things that are impossible to explain. Even if you know that there's no result, you might still have a trace of hope. Qin Wendian spoke in a light voice. Junyi started, she then smiled and nodded. That's right. Even if you know that there's no hope, do you want to be like me? In the future, if you change your mind, just remember to tell me. After that, she smiled sweetly and jumped off the boulder, walking towards the side of the mountain peak. Senior sister. Qing walked up and called out. Junior sister Qing, I'm fine. This has nothing to do with you. Junyi turned and smiled at Qing as she nodded. Staring at her smile, Qing faintly felt some heartache. After that, she shot a cold glare at Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan could only smile bitterly. Immortal King Junyi walked to the side of the ancient mountain peak. Through the sea of clouds, she stared into the distance, staring at her back view. Everyone could feel the sorrow in her heart. Beside Qin, a senior sister patted her on the shoulder. In the Namhuang clan, Namhuang Yunxi's eyes were filled with hidden bitterness as she glanced at Qin Wenyan. After that, she glanced at that lonely back view as she silently sighed in her heart. Since ancient times, beauties have always loved heaven's chosen. His magnificence is unparalleled. How can people not like him? Sadly, the falling flowers yearn for him, but the heartless flowing water only leaves us with sorrow. The holy maiden of the Namhuang clan, Nanfeng Mingyue, sighed. Jun Mingchen's eyes kept glancing left and right. When his gaze landed on Qin Wenyan, he couldn't help but to sigh. His senior brother was indeed his senior brother. He couldn't help but be impressed. The date of the peak battle in the city of ancient emperors finally arrived. Today, in a vast area in the central region of the city of ancient emperors, many experts gathered here. Almost half of the immortal kings in the city of ancient emperors were here. That existence from the Sun Gold race invited all the peak characters in the city of ancient emperors to gather here. This would be the true peak battle after the transformation of the city of ancient emperors. Everyone would be able to see the glory of the supreme characters in the future. If they could continue cultivating, they would definitely become characters that stood at the peak of the immortal realms. In the current era, everyone's cultivation speed was much faster. The era of ancient emperors would soon arrive. This was something everyone believed. At that time, there would be many peak-stage immortal emperors. The experts in the surroundings all gathered here, occupying all directions. Only in the central region, there was an extremely vast area. There was no one there, only a dilapidated ancient palace. He's here. At this moment, a peak-stage immortal king spoke in a low voice, his words causing many in the surroundings to gather. Where is he? As the sound of his voice faded, a supremely terrifying demonic qi gushed over. The temperature in the air abruptly rose as the sky was dyed red. After that, an incomparably powerful figure appeared in the air. Although he was in human form, his demonic qi towered up into the sky. His eyes swept over the crowd, but no one dared to match his gaze. Where is the saber-sword immortal king? His voice contained an intense killing intent as his entire body shimmered with a dazzling light. This man was none other than a character at the peak of the Forok race, Jia Huangtian. He's here. In the battle back then, the saber-sword immortal king annihilated 3 races, including the Forok race. Jia Huangtian searched everywhere for traces of the saber-sword immortal king but to no avail. Now, he will definitely kill the saber-sword immortal king. Many people felt their hearts trembling when they sensed the killing intent. There was no need to doubt Jia Huangtian's strength. He had an extremely noble bloodline and his strength was heaven-shaking. Roar! A thunderous roar rang out. In the air, the sky changed as lightning flashed and thunder boomed. In an instant, a gigantic true dragon swooped down from the sky, radiating an aura that engulfed the surroundings. Countless people felt a stifling pressure. It was unknown how large his body was. One couldn't even see the end of it with a single glance. A pair of incomparably terrifying eyes glanced downwards. After that, He transformed into a human form and descended from the skies. His entire body exuded a tyrannical aura, and only after he descended did the crowd realize that there were many terrifying demonic dragons following behind him. All of them revered him as their leader. And at this moment, a bright beam of light shot out as another sun appeared in the sky. A sun chariot rolled over. It was none other than the supreme expert from the Sun Gold demon race who issued the challenge. He directly floated in the air as his clansmen followed behind him. What powerful auras! Everyone couldn't help but to sigh in admiration. Regardless of the Emperor's fate that towered up into the clouds, or the auras they exuded, they were both extremely powerful. As expected, the demons of the desolate mountains are more impatient. There are actually 3 greater demons who have arrived first. Everyone spoke in a soft voice. After that, an expert with an incomparably imposing countenance appeared, exuding a cold aura. It was as though he came from hell. The aura he exuded caused no one to dare to get close to him. It's that supreme expert from the netherworld race. It's rumored that he has comprehended the Tao element of the hell of samsara and is extremely tyrannical. All of a sudden, a holy light descended. The experts from the 9-tailed fox race appeared, instantly attracting the attention of countless people. This was especially so for the fox goddess in the lead. She was so breathtaking, like a goddess and not a demon. Her beauty was like a gift bestowed by the heavens. Many supreme greater demons appeared, but there were only a few who stood at the peak. It wasn't that the other demons were weak, it was just that there were no supreme greater demons among them today. There were still supreme characters among their juniors, and if they matured, they would still have a chance. For example, the heaven-devouring beast, who said that he wouldn't grow into a supreme greater demon in the future. A black-robed expert appeared. He was human, yet he exuded an incomparably wild demonic aura. He was extremely mysterious. That person from the beast god sect is incomparably mysterious and extremely dangerous. Many greater demons of the desolate mountains have died in his hands. After that, an ancient Buddha appeared. This was a Buddhist cultivator from the Wenshin temple, and he was extremely powerful. Jiang Zihua also appeared. He glanced at that expert from the Wenshin temple. Both of them obtained the Tao element's inheritance. It was inevitable that they would compete against each other. Everyone, you all came early. A calm voice rang out. From afar, a white-robed figure walked over. This white-robed figure was extremely young and had a handsome countenance. He seemed harmless and didn't exude any aura at all. However, those who knew him didn't dare to underestimate him. Just by looking at his appearance, who would dare to imagine that this white-robed young man was a devil cultivator? If Qin Wenyan was here, he would definitely recognize him. He had met this person before, and it was precisely this person who told him to head to the Devil Mountain. On the Devil Mountain, there was an apostle from the Apostle Devil Hall. After he arrived, a large number of devil cultivators arrived as well. They were divided into different factions. A devil cultivator whose entire body was shrouded in darkness walked out, resembling a shadow. He was from the Darkness Devil Hall. Chapter 1507. The experts from the myriad devil islands have appeared. Many people stared at the group of devil cultivators. Many of them were immortal king geniuses from the various peak powers of the immortal realms. Right now, they also gained some understanding of the myriad devil islands and knew that the strongest place in the myriad devil islands was the Devil Mountain. There were 7 devil halls on the mountain, all of them were located at the peak. Right now, the Saint Devil Hall was nothing more than a spiritual symbol. The main reason was that there were 6 supreme devil halls controlling the Devil Mountain. 3 of them were the Judiciary Devil Hall, Darkness Devil Hall, Apostle Devil Hall, as well as the Myriad Ancient Devil Hall, Imperial Dragon Devil Hall and Sky Devil Hall. Right now, in the City of Ancient Emperors, the Judiciary Devil Hall, Darkness Devil Hall and Apostle Devil Hall each had a peak character. This was the foundation of the 3 devil halls. They were slightly more profound. The white-robed young man was an apostle of the Apostle Devil Hall. He once told Qin Wenyan and the others to go up the Devil Mountain. After that, he came to the immortal realms alone to observe the changes in the world. Right now, the era has truly changed. The figure in the darkness was none other than the child of the darkness Devil Hall, the 7 Knights Devil King. Before he left the Devil Mountain, he was already chosen by the Darkness Devil Hall to be the next Devil Lord. Other than him, there was another terrifying Devil King clad in the robes of the Judiciary Devil Hall. He was the Devil King level priest of the Judiciary Devil Hall, Du Devil King, the future Grand Priest of the Judiciary Devil Hall. 3 experts stepped out. The 3 of them represented the strength of the myriad Devil Islands, causing many experts to turn their gazes over. They have all arrived, only the Saber-Sword Immortal King has yet to arrive. Everyone silently mused. The people who appeared before them were all characters who stood at the peak of the city of ancient emperors. In the entire immortal realms, the desolate mountain range and the myriad Devil Islands, only a few of them had reached this level. Maybe there were other demon-level geniuses like them in the other peak powers, but they might not have matured yet, or they might already be at the immortal emperor level. Where is the Saber-Sword Immortal King? An enraged roar rang out. The gazes of everyone turned over. The person who spoke was a short and ugly figure with shifty eyes. The instant everyone saw him, they were all startled. It was none other than this fellow. He was a supremely powerful character from the Void Beast race. The Emperor's fate behind him towered up into the sky and was extremely terrifying. However, Qin Wenyin had almost annihilated all the experts from his race in the city of ancient emperors. Qin Wenyin had to take revenge for this. There was also a great demon of the Heavenhold race in the crowd, his eyes filled with killing intent. Huang Jiutian and the other experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state were here as well. When he thought of the Saber-Sword Immortal King, he wanted nothing more than for the Saber-Sword Immortal King to die on the battlefield today. Back then, the humiliation of him being expelled by the Saber-Sword Immortal King within 9 seconds was something they could never forget. From then on, the geniuses of their peak powers, the 9 Emperors' immortal state, became extremely dazzling existences in the city of ancient emperors. No matter who saw them, they would definitely mention that incident. Given how powerful the 9 Emperors' immortal state was, they had never suffered such humiliation before. As for the Sanluo Immortal Empire, their experts in the city of ancient emperors were all killed by Qin Wenyin. Even if there were some survivors, all of them were hiding in the crowd, not daring to show their faces. Other than them, there were also experts from the Violet Mountain Zidi sect, the Taihua Immortal Dynasty, the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom's Supreme Sword School. They were all waiting for the Saber-Sword Immortal King to appear, wanting nothing more than for the Saber-Sword Immortal King to die. But before this, even though they saw Qin Wenyin, they didn't dare to act. This was especially so for the experts from the Violet Mountain Zidi sect. Zidi was enraged and gave the order to kill their way into the city of ancient emperors. But even though they had seen the Saber-Sword Immortal King who killed Zidao long before, none of them dared to act recklessly. Seems like he doesn't dare to come. That expert from the Gold Sun race coldly spoke. Back then when the human Wu Xiu fought against the demonic beasts, he gave the order to disperse. But after he left, Qin Wenyin didn't spare the demonic beasts from the 3 desolate races, slaughtering many of them. This caused him to be extremely unhappy. This was equivalent to Qin Wenyin ignoring his words, smacking his face. He will come. At this moment, a voice rang out. The expert from the Gold Sun race glanced over only to see that the person who spoke was actually Jiang Zihua. His expression was calm and his tone was filled with certainty, like he believed in his own judgment. Wait! Jia Huangtian from the Forok race spoke. His expression was extremely cold as his killing intent intensified. Today, other than wanting to contend against these experts, he also wanted to kill the Saber-Sword Immortal King. Among the spectators, there were experts from the Tianping people. Among them, the supreme greater demon who entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy together with Qin Wenyin back then, the golden-winged great rock was here. Jian and Tian. Regardless of the Forok race of the Desolate Mountains or the Tianping people of the western regions, they all shared a similar bloodline. They had the same ancestor. The Saber-Sword Immortal King is here. From afar, Numerous exclamations rang out. Many experts turned their heads over, and after that, they only saw a figure walking over from the air, exuding boundless elegance. There was a sword and saber strapped on his back. Other than Qin Wenyan, who else could it be? Sword intent whistled through the air. Qin Wenyan rode on his sword Qi and moved with lightning speed, directly arriving at the center of the crowd. As he swept his gaze over, Qin Wenyan instantly felt numerous sharp gazes landing on him. Not only for the expert standing in the center, there were also many in the crowd who had malicious intents directed at him. In fact, he could even sense many killing intents from them. Seems like there are many people who want to kill me. Qin Wenyan silently mused. Given how many major powers he had, there were naturally many people who wanted his life. He also knew that after he left the city of ancient emperors in the future, he could no longer maintain his identity as the saber-sword immortal king. If not, he would definitely be hunted down by all the major powers and not just by the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor and the Violet Emperor. Most probably, there wouldn't be a place for him in the entire immortal realms. The saber-sword immortal king actually dared to show up. Many people were impressed by his courage. After offending so many experts and annihilating 3 demon races, he actually still dared to show up. Indeed, he was as arrogant as the rumors said. In his eyes, there was no fear at all. For those who dared to offend him, he would kill them all. So this is the saber-sword immortal king. That Empyrean from the demon dragon race turned his gaze onto Qin Wenyan. There was a look of disdain in his eyes as he spoke. It's rumored that he killed the Yama King within 9 seconds. That Yama King is truly trash. Jia Huangtan, since he annihilated your race, you can handle him. They had all heard of the battle back then. The conflict between humans and demons erupted, and Qin Wenyan single-handedly turned the tides, annihilating 3 demon races. This naturally caused the demons to be extremely unhappy with him. Right now, among the peak characters here, there were 5 greater demons from the desolate mountains, 4 humans from the immortal realms, and 3 devil cultivators from the myriad devil islands. Jia Huangdan coldly stared at Qin Wenyan as he spoke. Saber-sword immortal king, who gave you the guts to kill members of my Forok race? His body floated in the air as a pair of golden wings appeared. These golden wings gleamed with a blood-red light as runic inscriptions circulated around them. Spatial energy gushed forth, extremely terrifying to the extreme. Qin Wenyan inclined his head and glanced at Jia Huangtian. He instantly thought of the golden-winged great rock Jianantian of the Tianping people, the fellow he met in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Although this Jia Huangtian had the bloodline of a phoenix as well as the bloodline of a great rock, their eyes were somewhat similar. Naturally, the eyes of this Forok were even more terrifying, as though they could penetrate through people. Where did this bastard come from? How dare you speak to this seat like this? Qin Wenyan's voice was as calm as ever, without a trace of anger. It was as though he was just speaking an insignificant sentence. Just a single sentence caused the eyes of the experts in the surroundings to widen as they stared at him. It was rumored that the saber-sword immortal king was lawless and disdainful of everything. There wasn't a single power or demon race that could be placed in his eyes before. Before this, some people were still doubtful, wanting to see for themselves how arrogant the saber-sword immortal king was exactly. But now they had seen it for themselves. Just a single sentence from him was enough to deeply understand how arrogant the saber-sword immortal king was. The Forok race was an extremely powerful race, having the bloodlines of a great rock and a phoenix. What sort of character was Jia Huangtan? A character at the peak of the city of ancient emperors. Yet when faced with Jia Huangtian's question, the saber-sword immortal king actually said, "Where did this bastard come from?" With just a single sentence, Jia Huangtian erupted forth with an incomparably violent aura. Numerous resplendent golden blades slashed towards Qin Wenyan, engulfing the entire space. Qin Wenyan calmly stared at this scene. He didn't dodge. His body of law energy flowed freely, allowing the attacks to land on him. After that, they all dissipated into nothingness. How impudent, he is insulting the demons of the desolate mountains again. A void beast who was spectating from afar coldly spoke. Qin Wendian directly insulted Jia Huangtian, a bastard. Clearly, he had no respect for the demons at all. Even for the other peak demons, all of them were staring at Qin Wendian. Back then when I announced a truce, you didn't listen to my words and killed 3 experts from the demon races, stirring up trouble and ignoring me. Could it be that you really think you can challenge the demons of the desolate mountains? A peak character from the Sun Gold race calmly spoke. Sunlight shone down on Qin Wendian's eyes, causing Qin Wendian to feel as though his eyes were being burned. If the reason you issued this challenge is just to make the demons of the desolate mountains work together to deal with me, feel free to do so. This seat will naturally accompany you. Qin Wendian stood with his hands behind his back, staring at the dazzling silhouette on the war chariot. Why would he fear a peak expert from the demon race? After killing the Yama King, you truly have no one in your eyes. That incomparably imposing demon dragon arrogantly spoke, glancing at Qin Wendian. You didn't invite us here just to discuss your personal grudges, right? At this moment, a voice rang out. The eyes of everyone turned over, staring at the Devil King priest from the Judiciary Devil Hall. Naturally. The demon dragon on the war chariot spoke, sweeping his gaze over everyone. I'm sure all of you have long heard of each other's names. Since all of us are gathered here today, I want to see your strength and see if you all can stand at the peak of the city of ancient emperors. I have the same intention. That Devil King who was shrouded in darkness coldly spoke. It's only normal for me to take this opportunity to settle my personal grudges. Since I killed one of them, I can eliminate him from the list. Jia Huangtian spoke, still staring at Qin Wendian. Clearly, he wasn't prepared to spare Qin Wendian. Bizizi. Qin Wendian's silhouette flashed as he stepped out, directly appearing in the center of this space. He flicked his sleeves, calmly glancing at everyone as he spoke. I've said it before. If you want to fight, I will accompany you. Why would this seat care about a mere beast? Chapter 1508. Boom! A supreme might capable of destroying the heavens and earth manifested in the air. Jia Huangtian was enraged. The entire space was dyed scarlet red as a blood-colored cloud manifested in the sky. A golden light broke through everything, enveloping the entire space. The saber-sword immortal king humiliated him once again. Why would he care about a mere beast? The Forok race was one of the strongest races in the desolate mountains. As for him, he was from the royal clan among the royal clans. This time, he came out from the desolate mountains because he wanted to become the hegemon of the immortal realms. How could he allow the saber-sword immortal king to humiliate him again? Everyone retreat, leave the battlefield open. On the war chariot, that expert from the Sun Gold race waved his hand. In an instant, the experts who were originally spectating from afar all retreated. As for those peak characters, they also retreated far away, radiating powerful auras. As peak-level characters, even if the aftershocks from the battle reached them, they naturally wouldn't be injured. The entire sky turned the color of blood, but there was still a resplendent golden light radiating from it. Jia Huangtian stared at Qin Wendian. Right now, the more arrogant you are, the more miserable your death will be. Many people have said this to this seat before. Right now, this seat is still alive, but they have long been buried in the city of ancient emperors. Qin Wendian stood with his hands behind his back, staring at Jia Huangtian. His body slowly floated up into the air, like an elegant young noble, incomparably carefree. There was no trace of nervousness or fear in him at all. You killed the experts of my Forok race. After I kill you, as long as you are in contact with me, I will kill them all, leaving none alive. Jia Huangtian from the Forok race radiated killing intent. Boundless golden light transformed into sharp swords that pierced through space, piercing into Qin Wendian's body, causing terrifying rumbling sounds to echo out. Just this attack alone was enough to kill ordinary peak-stage immortal kings. From this, one could very well imagine how terrifying he was. But when these attacks landed on Qin Wendian, they had no way to break his body of laws. Just based on these words of yours, the city of ancient emperors shall be your burial ground. Qin Wendian domineeringly replied. Very good, I heard that your illusionary arts are unparalleled. With this art, you can kill the Yama King. Jia Huangtian stood at his original location, as though he was waiting for Qin Wendian to use his illusionary arts on him. The people in the city of ancient emperors only know that this seat used illusions to kill the Yama King. Do they all think that this seat is only proficient in illusions? If it wasn't for the Yama King's myriad underworld chaotic art, this seat wouldn't even bother to use illusions to kill him. Since you are so arrogant, this seat can easily kill a mere beast. There's no need for me to use illusions. Qin Wendian's voice was as calm as the clouds and wind. The arrogance in his voice caused the greater demons of the desolate mountains to go berserk. Although the demons weren't facing Qin Wendian, all of them let out howls of rage, wanting Jia Huangtian to kill him immediately. Jia Huangtian's palm pressed out in the air. Instantly, the heavens and earth roared as law energy gushed forth. Boundless law energy gathered in front of his palm, transforming into numerous resplendent swords. With a wave of his hand, his movements were as smooth as flowing water. In just an instant, a sharp whistling sound rang out as the space around him trembled unstably. The great rock sword and the phoenix feather sword actually slashed through the air, aiming for Qin Wendian, wanting to engulf him within. Qin Wendian released his Vajra holy will. His entire body shone with a golden light, resembling a Vajra Dharma body that contained the power of the Buddhist path. When the swords slashed over, intense rumbling sounds rang out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. However, Qin Wendian remained unmoved. He still had his hands clasped behind his back as he stared at Jia Huangtian. Just a minor Dao, don't bring it out to embarrass yourself. Back then, I once gave the Yama King a chance to use his full strength. However, he was too arrogant and was killed within 9 seconds. Don't repeat the same mistake. Since you are so eager to die, I will grant you your wish. Jia Huangtian spoke. The laws of heaven and earth churned intensely as the entire space rumbled, enveloping everything. With a wave of his hand, a dimension of destruction appeared in the air, completely different from this space. It seemed to be independent of this world and directly tried to devour Qin Wendian. Seems like you have also inherited the power of a spatial Dao element. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, Jia Huangtian grabbed out with his hand. His hand transformed into a malevolent demonic claw that appeared from the void, grabbing onto Qin Wendian. After that, a terrifying might ripped the dimension apart, wanting to drag Qin Wendian into a space outside of this world. What a powerful spatial ability! The spectators were all stunned. As expected of an Empyrean character from the Forok race, he was truly terrifying. Qing'er, Jun Mingchen and the others were among the spectators as well, feeling some worry in their hearts. Although they knew that Qin Wendian was strong, his opponent was similarly a terrifying character. It was impossible for them to remain as calm as water. Since this is the case, all the more I can't let you live. Killing intent flashed in Qin Wendian's eyes. Qing'er has already obtained the spatial Dao element. She would have to face attacks from experts who have obtained the same power as her. Regardless of whether this Jia Huangtian has a grudge with Qing'er or not, he would definitely act against Qing'er. Break! Qin Wendian roared. Sword-type Saint Will circulated, wanting to destroy everything, tearing apart the spatial claw that was grabbing onto him. His silhouette flashed as he soared into the air. Jia Huangtian's eyes were cold to the extreme. His silhouette flickered as he vanished from sight. A true sky rock with incredible speed, shuttling through the void. This was his innate ability. Spatial freezing. A voice filled with towering killing intent rang out. The space where Qin Wendian was it seemed to come to a standstill. Even his body was frozen in the air. Jia Huangtian's strongest innate ability. The hearts of the peak characters in the surroundings trembled when they saw this scene. If they wanted to contend against Jia Huangtian, they had to face his innate techniques and ultimate arts. This was especially so for those human cultivators. They felt even more pressure. Some demonic beasts were born with innate techniques and innate techniques. After the appearance of the demon god mountain, many demonic beasts transformed and evolved, giving birth to powerful innate techniques and ultimate arts. After that, Jia Huangtian also obtained the spatial Dao element. His control over space grew to an unfathomable level. His innate ability was unleashed, causing the space around him to freeze. Qin Wenqian's body stiffened. Senior brother. Jun Mengchen's eyes flashed. Such an ultimate art caused his heart to involuntarily pound. Qing'er's countenance turned pale. She cultivated spatial energy and naturally knew how terrifying this ability was. It would directly threaten Qin Wenqian's life. Incinerate. Jia Huangtian's finger landed on that space. The phoenix's nirvanic extermination flames descended upon that frozen space. In just an instant, the flames seeped into that space, enveloping Qin Wenyin. In just an instant, the flames drilled into Qin Wenqian's body, invading his internal organs as Qin Wenyin transformed into a flaming man. Boom! The powerful holy will from Qin Wenyin broke apart the frozen space. However, his entire body was engulfed in flames, about to be incinerated. What a terrifying Jia Huangtian. As expected, none of these peak characters are extraordinary and all of them have their own innate abilities. Although the Saber-Sword Immortal King is powerful and once used illusions to kill the Yama King, he would most probably still be killed today. Many people sighed in admiration. The Saber-Sword Immortal King, a king of an era, died just like that in a clash between peak characters? If the Saber-Sword Immortal King died, his friends would surely suffer a calamity. As for the enemies of the Saber-Sword Immortal King, all of them had expressions of excitement on their faces. Finally, Jia Huangtian was going to kill the Saber-Sword Immortal King. He has been arrogant for so long, it's about time for him to die. Boom! Terrifying flames erupted forth, scorching the sky as the entire space was dyed red. Qin Wenqian's body appeared once more. His body of laws seemed to have been incinerated into nothingness. Many flames seeped into his body, turning him into a flaming man. But at this moment, the flames on his body actually gradually dissipated. He directly stared at Jia Huangtian as his sword intent towered up into the sky, resembling a sword river that slashed outwards. Jia Huangtian's silhouette moved like lightning, directly vanishing from sight. The torrential sword river slashed through the air, cleaving the heavens and earth apart. What a powerful attack, what fast speed! Everyone sighed in admiration. When they glanced at Qin Wenyin again, his eyes gleamed with a dazzling light. The flames on his body vanished completely, as though nothing had happened at all. The Saber-Sword Immortal King has an undying body, it's very difficult to kill him. Someone spoke. That's right. 40 years ago when he was at the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm, he fought against the Yama King. His body was undying, I personally witnessed it. A voice rang out from the crowd, causing everyone to be in an uproar. What a demon-level character, an undying body. Don't forget what sort of character Jia Huangtian is. He has the dual bloodlines of a golden-winged roc and a phoenix, a true royal bloodline. The ability of a divine phoenix is to undergo nirvanic rebirth and become undying. In this battle, the Saber-Sword Immortal King will still die. That's right, freezing space. This innate ability is simply monstrous. Who can defend against it? The spectators discussed. As expected of a battle at the peak of the city of ancient emperors. When the battle erupted, the two experts instantly caused everyone to be stunned. Saber-Sword Immortal King, you basically can't touch me. Do you regret it? Jia Huangtian's silhouette flashed as he floated in the air, staring at Qin Wenyin. Qin Wenyin inclined his head and smiled. You are smarter compared to the Yama King. At the very least, you knew to use your true strength right from the start. In that case, although you wouldn't be able to change the ending, you would still be able to live a little longer. Jia Huangtian's expression froze. After that, he started laughing maniacally. As he laughed, his silhouette vanished once more as a terrifying energy erupted forth, causing the space around Qin Wenyin to solidify. Everything was about to be frozen. Qin Wenyan's body erupted with towering law energy. He stretched out both his palms and slammed them towards the freezing space. In an instant, numerous terrifying palm imprints of law energy slammed into Qin Wenyin. Each of the palm imprints contained supreme law energy, causing the formless space to crackle. It felt like the space that had yet to freeze had already been shattered. Spatial law energy flowed freely, resembling a spatial storm. He broke through. The eyes of everyone flashed as shock could be seen on their faces. The freezing of space was broken by the saber-sword Immortal King. Even Jia Huangtian's eyes narrowed, feeling somewhat bewildered. How terrifying was the power of that palm imprint exactly? No matter how powerful an innate technique is, it's still based on law energy as the foundation. As long as the attack is stronger than everything else, there's nothing that can't be broken. Qin Wenyin calmly spoke. There were no fluctuations in his heart. It was like this was an insignificant matter. He has been cultivating in the city of ancient emperors for many years, sensing the inheritances of the various Tao elements, but he didn't receive any of them. However, he wasn't wasting his time away. During these years, his comprehension of law energy was extremely deep and had long reached an extraordinary level. Chapter 1509. Jia Huangtian's expression didn't change when he heard Qin Wenyan's words. He floated in the air, exuding a pressure as he coldly spoke. So what if you broke it? Next, it will be your doomsday. As the sound of his voice faded, Jia Huangtian's body moved like lightning, vanishing once again. Swishing sounds of golden spatial energy gushed forth as the spatial freezing technique erupted forth once more. Qin Wenyan's body shone with resplendent light as law energy cascaded down unceasingly. He was like a perfect body as boundless law energy flowed within his palms. Both of his palms blasted out in the same direction, instantly causing the space around him to shatter apart. Crackling sounds rang out as the frozen space was shattered once again. However, in just an instant, Jia Huangtian's silhouette vanished once more, directly appearing in another location where Qin Wenyin was. He was too fast, so fast that even immortal senses couldn't catch up. His eyes flashed as his innate ability erupted forth, causing the spatial freezing technique to blast towards Qin Wenyin. Qin Wenyin still stood at his original location. His palms blasted out unceasingly in different directions. Two silhouettes, one moving while the other moving, they were as still as mountains, unmoving. Their movements were as swift as lightning, causing the entire space to be engulfed by the destructive might. When the spectators stared at their battle, they were all dazzled. They were simply too powerful. The saber-sword Immortal King's palms contained boundless might, shocking the heavens and earth. Qi. At this moment, after the spatial freezing technique was broken apart, Jia Huangtian didn't retreat. He continued forward with lightning speed, directly blasting out with a strike that contained boundless destructive might. Numerous rock silhouettes tore through the sky, tearing apart the palm imprints. He suddenly transformed into an incomparably gigantic Forok, possessing the sharpness of a great rock and the majesty of a phoenix. His divine might was unparalleled as his terrifying claws tore through space, causing the entire space to churn as a fiery space of destruction appeared, shooting towards Qin Wenyin. At this moment, Qin Wenyin could clearly feel the annihilating power of space around him. In fact, although he was arrogant and unparalleled, Jia Huangtian's strength was also quite amazing. In terms of that innate space-freezing supernatural ability, if it weren't for Qin Wenyan's unparalleled attack power and tyrannical strength, the entire space around him would have been frozen solid, allowing Jia Huangtian to slaughter him as he pleased. Moreover, that was only one of his innate supernatural abilities. There was also the heavenly rock speed that allowed him to shuttle through the void, as well as the ancient phoenix extinguishing flames. His strength was simply too amazing. When those sharp claws slashed over, Qin Wenyin truly felt how powerful the spatial energy was, wanting to bury him within. Qin Wenyin unsheathed his sword as his saint's sword intent gushed forth unceasingly, fusing into his sword. With a single slash, the sword light radiating with the power of dreams directly rushed into Jia Huangtian's mind. Jia Huangtian seemed to have seen a supreme beam of sword light slashing out a true dragon, a great rock, and a vermilion bird. The two attacks collided and tore apart at the same time. That extremely terrifying space was split apart by the sword. Jia Huangtian moved once more, moving like a bolt of lightning. However, this time around, Qin Wenyan also moved. His movement technique was extremely fast, able to see through everything with a single glance. It was like he could directly predict Jia Huangtian's movements and slashed out with no hesitation. The Dream Devil swordplay was even more perfect compared to before. Jia Huangtian was forced to defend against this sword attack. Before this, it was always him on the offense while Qin Wenyan defended. But this time around, Qin Wenyan took the initiative to attack. The hearts of everyone trembled when they saw this scene. The saber sword Immortal King was truly going all out. What a fast movement technique, what a powerful sword technique. Pagoda Prison. Qin Wenyan stepped out as Pagoda light flashed. The Pagoda intent blasted towards Jia Huangtian, yet Jia Huangtian's speed was as fast as lightning. When the Pagoda intent blasted towards him, Jia Huangtian merely glanced over and unleashed his innate ability, freezing the space around him, directly blocking the attack. His body moved with lightning speed as he rushed towards the edge of the law domain. His gigantic claws slashed out, causing cracks to appear on the law domain. The power of the Pagoda law domain was unable to trap him. An expert like Jia Huangtian was simply too difficult to deal with. Nobody knew that right now Jia Huangtian was also thinking the same thing. He silently mused that this saber sword Immortal King was too difficult to deal with. His attacks were too powerful and contained a bewildering intent. His eyes were also extremely terrifying, able to create illusions with a single glance. When fighting against the saber sword Immortal King, one had to be extremely careful. The two of them separated. Jia Huangtian floated in the air, staring at Qin Wenyan. His eyes gleamed with sharpness as though he was contemplating. After that, his silhouette flashed, vanishing from sight once more. He soared through the air, circling around Qin Wenyan. At this moment, the entire space around him froze as boundless law energy gushed forth, wanting to bury the heavens and earth. Qin Wenyan stared at Jia Huangtian, who was rushing over. His eyes gleamed with the light of truth, as though he could see through everything, seeing through Jia Huangtian's intentions. Bzz. Jia Huangtian once again appeared before Qin Wenyan, his speed reaching an inconceivable level. His gigantic body unleashed a heaven-shaking attack as a supreme sword appeared in the air. It resembled a heavenly rock, yet also resembled an ancient phoenix, directly piercing through the heavens and earth, aiming for Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan's sword slashed out with no hesitation. His sword intent towered, arcing through the 9 heavens, penetrating through everything. Boom! Jia Huangtian descended. His wings covered the sky, flowing with boundless law energy as he directly attacked Qin Wenyan's sword. His invincible wings were broken apart at this moment. Qin Wenyan's sword intent directly penetrated through the wings, piercing into Jia Huangtian's gigantic body, causing the hearts of everyone to tremble violently. Jia Huangtian, what is he trying to do? He actually used his invincible wings to block this sword attack. In that case, what about the attack he was preparing? Bzz. Jia Huangtian's wings flapped as golden blood flowed. The blood in his body churned as he coldly spoke, "Space freeze." As the sound of his voice faded, the space around him froze once more. At this moment, Qin Wenyan basically didn't have time to attack. Space froze as Jia Huangtian spread open his wings. That supremely powerful heavenly rock and ancient phoenix sword slashed down. What a crazy Jia Huangtian! He forcibly endured this sword attack from the saber sword Immortal King, wanting to kill the saber sword Immortal King directly. Jia Huangtian is the king of the Forok race. He has phoenix blood flowing in his veins and is able to undergo nirvanic rebirth. He is the same as the saber sword Immortal King, having an undying body. How difficult would it be to kill him? Although this sword attack can injure him, it definitely won't be able to kill him. The saber sword Immortal King is finished. Many experts mused. It was like they could already see Qin Wenyan's death. However, at this moment, Qin Wenyan's gaze penetrated through everything, directly landing on Jia Huangtian's eyes. Within Qin Wentian's resplendent eyes, a fearsome killing intent could be seen as well. At this instant, Jia Huangtian felt a supreme figure rushing towards him, wanting to destroy his soul. This figure was none other than Qin Wentian. Jia Huangtian roared in rage, ignoring everything. No matter what attacks he had to endure, he wanted to kill Qin Wentian. As long as he could kill Qin Wentian, all attacks would be useless. He saw the supremely powerful sword light penetrating through everything. His sword slashed down, shattering the frozen space, penetrating through Qin Wentian's body, directly killing him. His eyes flashed with coldness. Was he finally going to die? Even if it was a soul attack or a dream art, what could it do to him? Something's wrong. At this moment he felt a piercing pain in his soul. The terrifying attack was still attacking him. His heart trembled as he felt a bone-piercing coldness. If the saber-sword Immortal King's attack was still there, what happened earlier? An illusion, a dreamscape. Jia Huangtian instantly understood. His will was incomparably resolute. After that, he only saw Qin Wentian appearing not far away from him. Qin Wentian's body seemed to have been pierced by a sharp sword, but he still stood there proudly. In addition, his gigantic body resembled his true form, transforming into a supreme immortal king. Both his palms radiated a fearsome might as he blasted out. Jia Huangtian retreated explosively as he unleashed his spatial energy to the extreme. However, Qin Wentian's palms penetrated through the heavens and earth, suppressing everything. They were like two supremely powerful grand formations as boundless destructive might bore down on him, enveloping him. The pagoda intent that could suppress everything, as well as the sword saint intent that could pierce through the 9 heavens, fused into his body. Arg. Boom. A terrifying flame manifested, resembling inextinguishable nirvanic flames, enveloping his body, wanting to protect him from being extinguished. Do you still want to live? Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with a terrifying light. As his attacks penetrated through Jia Huangtian's body, the destructive might blasted into the nirvanic flames, penetrating into Jia Huangtian's soul. No matter how strong the technique was, it was impossible for him to protect Jia Huangtian's life. Saber Sword Immortal King. Jia Huangtian let out a frenzied roar. However, Qin Wentian didn't seem to have heard it. He wanted to kill Jia Huangtian here no matter what. His countenance was extremely cold. Saber Sword Immortal King. Many people sighed, feeling disdain in their hearts. In the past, the Saber Sword Immortal King killed the Yama King. Now, could it be that he wanted to kill Jia Huangtian of the Forak race as well? Did he want to offend all the major powers here? Saber Sword Immortal King? From the void, another cold laugh rang out. It was unknown where this voice originated from, but it clearly rang out in the ears of everyone, containing a mysterious energy within. You guys should refer to him as Qin Wentian, that would be more appropriate. That voice rang out once more. As the sound of his voice faded, it was unknown how many people felt their hearts pounding. This was especially so for those who knew of Qin Wentian. All of them felt their hearts pounding madly. Saber Sword Immortal King, Qin Wentian? This voice came from the void, as though he was afraid that the Saber Sword Immortal King would take revenge on him if his identity was revealed. However, was this unexcelled Saber Sword Immortal King really Qin Wentian? Qin Wentian himself also felt his heart pounding violently. He was extremely cautious, appearing in the city of ancient emperors with the Saber Sword Immortal King's arrogance. His personality, appearance, and aura had all changed. Who would still be able to recognize him? Could it be that attack earlier? Impossible. Although that attack was unleashed by God's hand, he had intentionally concealed it. This basically didn't mean anything. In the entire immortal realms, only he was proficient in God's hand. Unless, he was like back then when he killed the Yama King in the Dreamscape domain. Chapter 1510. Who was the person who exposed his identity exactly? Qin Jun Mingchen, Nam Huang Yunxi, and the others who knew of Qin Wentian's identity all felt their hearts trembling as a sense of unease appeared in their hearts. Although Qin Wentian had many enemies in the past, this time around he used the identity of the Sabersword Immortal King to kill many of them. For example, Zi Daolong, the Taihua Immortal Dynasty, the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, the Supreme Sword School, and also some new powers that wanted to kill him. Among them, the Sunluo Immortal Empire was the one who killed the crown prince of the Sunluo Immortal Empire, the Yama King. In this case, after his identity was exposed, one could very well imagine the pressure Qin Wentian would face. It wouldn't just be Zidi and Dongxing Heaven Emperor hunting him down. Most probably, given how vast the immortal realms are, no one would be able to protect him. Even the Southern Phoenix matriarch wouldn't be able to do so. Qin Wentian. As expected, at this moment, the experts from the Violet Mountain under Zidi all had a terrifying gleam in their eyes. There were also experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, 9 Emperors Immortal State, and the other major powers. Their eyes all gleamed with coldness. If the Sabersword Immortal King was truly Qin Wentian, he must not be allowed to live no matter what. Has he actually grown to such a terrifying extent? This was unbelievable. However, many people faintly felt that this was the truth. The Sabersword Immortal King was truly Qin Wentian. His countenance was originally filled with mysteriousness, and everyone thought that this had something to do with the illusory arts he cultivated. But now, it seems like it was because he wanted to hide his identity. In addition, Qin Wentian's fiancée, Qing'e, was in the city of ancient emperors. Jun Mingchen, Nam Huang Yunxi, and his demonic beast companions were all here. But what about him? Thinking back to earlier when Qin Wentian helped out, it seemed as though he was helping the people of the immortal realms. But now that he thought about it, it was actually because he wanted to help his fiancée. Qin Wentian annihilated the 3 great demon clans. Was he helping his fiancée to vent her anger? The people here were not fools. At this moment, when they thought about it, they felt their hearts tremble inexplicably. This voice was very likely to be real. Who dares to speak up in the dark? Did this seat offend you? Qin Wentian roared as the power of his palms continued to strike out at Jia Huangtian. Take off your mask and you will naturally know the truth. Right now, although you intentionally concealed your attack, other than God's hand, I truly have no way to imagine that there would be such an innate technique in the immortal realms. In addition, could it be that the Sabersword Immortal King appeared out of nowhere? That voice seemed to originate from the void, echoing throughout the area. Everyone stared at Qin Wentian's attack. As expected, there were traces of God's hand within it. No wonder he is so lawless, killing so many experts. So it turns out that he has disguised his identity. Once he exits the city of ancient emperors, the Sabersword Immortal King would vanish forever. Who would be able to find him for revenge? That void beast from afar coldly spoke. If you want to know if he is Qin Wentian or not, it's very simple. Just directly attack Evergreen Qing'e and we will know. As the sound of this voice rang out, many terrifying gazes instantly landed on Qing'e. At this moment, Jidi's followers all felt as though they were facing a great enemy. Immortal Queen Junyi's beautiful eyes flashed with an extremely complicated expression. So it turned out that the Sabersword Immortal King was Qin Wentian? She naturally believed it because before this, the Sabersword Immortal King had always been interested in Qing'e. So, it turned out that this was actually the case. Sadly, it was just her wishful thinking. At this moment, Qin Wentian understood that he could no longer hide his identity. His eyes flashed with a cold killing intent. This person who exposed his identity was truly despicable, wanting to consign him to eternal damnation. Sabersword Immortal King, since your identity has already been exposed, why are you still not releasing me? Jia Huangtian's voice was low and heavy, clearly extremely weak. He was still bitterly enduring as the nirvanic undying flames burned even brighter. As long as these flames weren't extinguished, his life wouldn't be extinguished. Qin Wentian coldly glanced at Jia Huangtian as an intense killing intent flashed in his eyes. Die! With a single word, the power of God's hand was fully unleashed. On the surface of the gigantic palm imprint, numerous runes manifested as a divine-like light erupted forth, transforming into a perfect version of God's hand. Jia Huangdan screamed in agony, "Saber-sword immortal king, are you courting death?" Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with a terrifying killing intent as his soul energy penetrated through. With a thunderous boom, Jia Huangtian's nirvanic undying flames were extinguished as his gigantic body directly dissipated. Another peak character died in the hands of the Saber-sword Immortal King. No matter if he was the Saber-sword Immortal King or Qin Wenyin, it was already enough for him to feel proud. The eyes of countless experts froze there. His identity has already been exposed, but he still directly killed Jia Huangtian. The spectators only saw Qin Wenyin turning his head. His gigantic body was like an unexcelled divinity. His eyes were extremely terrifying as he stared at the void beast. Just a single glance from him caused the void beast to tremble violently as it felt a chill run down its spine as a sense of unease appeared in its heart. Bzz. That void beast was extremely decisive. Spatial energy erupted forth as he unleashed his innate technique, directly shooting through the air, wanting to flee. Qin Wendian didn't say anything. He directly lifted his hand and grabbed out in the air. A gigantic palm imprint that was like the manifestation of a divinity tore through space. The void beast instantly fled to a faraway location, but it suddenly felt a supreme pressure boring down on it. It felt like there was a pagoda's sacred might boring down on it. When it inclined its head, it only saw a gigantic palm imprint descending from the heavens, blotting out the sun and sky. His expression was one of shock as he frantically fled, continuing to traverse the void to escape. However, that supreme power directly crushed everything, suppressing the world and the void. A deity-like palm slammed down, blocking his path forward and instantly capturing him. Boom! The palm imprint smashed down. That void beast didn't even have the time to scream before it was directly turned into ashes. The saber-sword Immortal King, who was enraged, radiated killing intent, causing the spectators to feel their hearts palpitating. That void beast soared through the air, fleeing far away, but it was still killed by a single palm strike from the saber-sword Immortal King. Because he said something he shouldn't have said. As expected, impulsiveness is the devil. That void beast thought that Qin Wenyin would be enraged and the consequences would be extremely dire. He didn't expect that after Qin Wentian's identity was exposed, he was even more terrifying compared to the saber-sword Immortal King. The saber-sword Immortal King seemed to have no more reservations. He had already offended so many experts and killed the kings of the 3 demon races. Why would he care about killing a few more? The saber-sword Immortal King referred to himself as the original body. His words were filled with boundless arrogance. However, before a battle, he had to use words to display his arrogance. But right now, Qin Wenyin didn't say anything and directly acted, killing Jia Huangtian and the Void Beast. When his gaze swept over, those people who wanted to rush towards Qin all froze there. How would anyone dare to act recklessly? That would simply be courting death. In the vast space, a light wind gusted by, fluttering the robes of the crowd. One could very well imagine how silent the atmosphere was right now. Qin Wendian swept his gaze over everyone. Lowering his head slightly, he brushed his palm across his eyes. When he inclined his head again, an extraordinarily handsome face appeared. His facial features were clearly defined, and there was a hint of coldness in his resoluteness. His eyes were incomparably deep, akin to the resplendent constellations in the night sky. Qin Wenyin coldly stated, "This seat is Qin Wenyin." The vast space was deathly silent. The saber-sword Immortal King actually hid his true identity. He was Qin Wenyin from the eastern regions, a disciple of the immortal Qianbian Gate, the son-in-law of Chongqing the Great. He was incomparably arrogant on the Demon God Mountain and was killed by the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor and Zidi. It was only because the Southern Phoenix matriarch protected him that Qin Wenyin managed to leave alive. He had been missing for many years. So it turned out that he had long entered the city of ancient emperors and became the saber-sword Immortal King, becoming a peak character. He killed the crown prince of the Sanluo Immortal Empire, Jia Huangtian of the Forak race, Zi Daolong of Zidi, killed many experts from the Supreme Sword School and the Taihua Immortal Dynasty, as well as the 3 Supreme Demon Kings. For those who once knew Qin Wenyin and had a grudge against him, great waves of shock rose in their hearts. In just a short span of tens of years, he had already grown to such a level? For immortal kings in the immortal realms, there were very few who could suppress him. If they didn't kill him now, when he broke through to the immortal emperor realm, there would be fewer and fewer people who could suppress him. In the past, although he was somewhat famous, his cultivation base was low. But now he had truly grown up. His growth was so fast and sudden. This point left a deep impression on the people of the Violet Mountain sect. In the past, they only knew that Zi Daoyang's death had something to do with Qin Wenyin. Zi Daolong once tried to kidnap Qin Wenyin but failed. But who would have thought that Zi Daolong actually died in Qin Wentian's hands? If Zidi learned of this, it was unknown how he would feel. In the camp of the 9 emperors' immortal state, Huang Jiutian had an unsightly expression on his face. But the one who felt the greatest shock was none other than Huang Shatian, who had already broken through to the peak stage of the mid-stage. Huang Shatian had worked so hard in his cultivation, yet Huang Shatian still managed to walk further and further away from him. Huang Shatian was one of the many experts of the 9 emperors' immortal state. Including him, were all forced to retreat by a single sentence from Qin Wenyin back then. The disciples of the heavenly talisman realm were shocked as well. After that, they glanced at Nam Huang Yunxi, thinking in their hearts that no wonder Nam Huang Yunxi had a strange look in her eyes when she looked at the saber-sword immortal king earlier. GD's followers glanced at Qing'e, understanding in their hearts. They then turned to Jun Yi only to see that Jun Yi was also looking at Qing'e. "I'm sorry, senior sister, I didn't mean to hide this from you." Qing'e spoke in a light voice. "Qing'e, senior sister, understands." Immortal King Junyi smiled and nodded, maintaining her elegance. Although she felt sad, this matter couldn't be blamed on Qing'e. How could she not understand how great the danger Qin Wentian's identity would be if it was exposed? Qing'e loved Qin Wenyin deeply and naturally wouldn't say it out loud. Although she understood, she couldn't help but feel a sense of loss when she saw that peerless figure. But gradually, a smile of relief appeared on her face, as though she had forgotten everything. Such a character was truly worthy of her junior sister Qing'e's love. It was only normal that her heart would be moved. In the camp of the myriad Devil Islands, many experts from the Judiciary Devil Hall gathered together. Among them, there was a beautiful maiden clad in blood-colored priest robes. Her beautiful eyes stared at that peerless character as she smiled and called out, "Wenyin Gij." Chapter 1511. Qin Wentian's heart trembled when he heard Bai Qing's voice. He turned his head and stared at the figure in the judiciary robes as a gentle smile appeared on his face. "Little lass Qing, who told you to run out and call me that? Don't you know how dangerous it is?" "I'm not afraid." Bai Qing shook her head. "Wenyin Gij's enemies are my enemies." Qin Wenyin stared at Bai Qing's beautiful eyes as he sighed in his heart, feeling warmth. The devil cultivators around Bai Qing all stared at her in bewilderment. The usually cold and emotionless judiciary priestess actually had such a gentle side to her. Her voice was as melodious as that of a young girl. Also, at this moment, after the saber-sword immortal king's identity was exposed, she actually called him Wenyin Gij, without any hesitation, placing herself in a disadvantageous position. The people on the myriad Devil Islands have all heard of the matters of the past. Seems like it was indeed true. Bai Qing had very deep feelings for Qin Wenyin, who came to the Devil Mountain back then. Everyone on the Devil Mountain stared at Qin Wenyin. Although many of them have never seen him before, they have all heard of his name. After all, there were many rumors about him on the Devil Mountain. Back then, the Grand Priest of the Judiciary Devil Hall and the Devil Lord of the Darkness Devil Hall wanted to act against him. However, that existence spoke out and no one on the Devil Mountain dared to touch Qin Wenyin. Now it seems that this person who could cause such a commotion on the Devil Mountain was truly extraordinary. Back then he was only at the Immortal Foundation realm, but now he was already a hegemon in the Immortal King realm. There were very few in the city of ancient emperors who could contend against him. Qin Wenin, back then I told you to head to the Devil Mountain to seek good fortune. Seems like my decision was correct. Not far away, the apostle laughed. Qin Wenin glanced at him. Indeed, I have to thank you for your help. However, the countenance of the child of darkness from the darkness devil hall at the side wasn't so friendly. Back then, Qin Wenin fought against a child of darkness on the Devil Mountain. In the end, even the darkness devil lord had to lower his head and apologize to him. One could say that after that incident, Qin Wenin became a transcendent existence on the Devil Mountain. Clearly, he was just a Wu Xiu from the immortal realms. Right now, in the city of ancient emperors, he personally met with Qin Wenin. Qin Wenin was no longer that weak immortal foundation cultivator from back then. Also, count me in. Jun Mengchen shouted and said coldly, which scoundrel is stirring up trouble in the dark? If you have the guts, come out and speak openly. No one answered. The other party seemed to have only revealed Qin Wentian's identity before disappearing completely. It was not easy to find out who exactly it was. Don't let your grandpa know which grandson it is. Jun Mengchen cursed in rage, cursing loudly. He truly couldn't endure this. Stabbing people in the dark, this person wanted to kill his senior brother Qin. In the future, given how vast the immortal realms are, how could there still be space for his senior brother Qin? Which of those major powers he offended wasn't a peak power? This move was too ruthless, using a borrowed knife to kill. Qin Wenin glanced at everyone as he spoke. Since you all know who I am, who wants to kill me? As the sound of his voice faded, the atmosphere turned silent once more. That's right, so what if his identity was exposed? In the city of ancient emperors, the saber-sword immortal king already stood at the peak. Before this, he had already killed Jia Huangtian of the Forok race. Who else here could kill him? Should they join forces to deal with him? Other than those peak characters who stood on the same level as Qin Wenin, as for the others, even if everyone ganged up on Qin Wenin, they would still die. In the city of ancient emperors, who wanted to kill him? Who would dare to kill him? Back then, I've heard of your name on the Devil Mountain. Since there's a chance today, I really want to see for myself what level Wu Xiu, who came out from my Saint Devil Hall, has reached now. A sinister voice rang out. The eyes of everyone flashed as they stared at the person who spoke. This person wasn't a peak character from the desolate mountains, but was a devil king from the myriad devil islands, a child of darkness from the darkness devil hall. Qin Wenin glanced at him as he coldly spoke. Since you are someone from the Devil Mountain, I advise you not to act against me. Before this, when I killed Jia Huangtian, I still have many abilities that I haven't used yet. For example, the inheritance I obtained from the Devil Mountain. You should know what those abilities are. You won't stand a chance against me. You are too confident. Even if you obtain the inheritance, you might not be able to win against the Devil Kings of the Devil Mountain. The voice of the child of darkness was as cold as ever. If I defeat you, should I kill you or not? Qin Wendian directly asked. Arrogant. That child of darkness stepped out. In an instant, the sky turned dark. That devil king of darkness seemed to have melded into the darkness, vanishing from sight. Everyone stared at the darkness, but even their immortal senses couldn't penetrate it. They couldn't see where the child of darkness was hiding exactly. Qin Wendian closed his eyes. Terrifying law energy circulated around him. This time around, he no longer concealed his law attributes. Devil attribute and destruction attribute energy also circulated around him, terrifying to the extreme. The entire sky turned dark. This was a domain of darkness. All of a sudden, terrifying devil might gushed forth frenziedly. In several locations, devil kings of darkness appeared at the same time, stabbing their spears of darkness towards Qin Wenin. Devil might towered up into the sky, capable of penetrating everything. Numerous vortexes of darkness appeared around Qin Wenin. At this moment, a towering devil might suddenly gushed forth from Qin Wenin. This devil might soared up into the sky as his astral soul manifestation manifested. It was like a terrifying devil sovereign staring down at the heavens and earth with disdain. The will of the devil sovereign was terrifying to the extreme, wanting to dominate everything under the heavens. The devil might in this entire space churned violently, even the spear of darkness was trembling. After I broke through to the immortal king realm, the constellation I condensed is devil attributed. Devil cultivators are the least threat to me. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Back then, he obtained the inheritance of the myriad devil sovereign and also cultivated the tyrannical devil attribute energy. He was able to counter any devil cultivators. Boundless devil runes flashed as his devil sovereign form stared arrogantly at the heavens. Darkness devil might frenziedly gushed forth, causing the spears of darkness to tremble involuntarily. Return! Qin Wentian roared. His voice was like the command of the devil lord, causing all devils to submit. Those devil kings that walked out from the darkness actually turned and rushed towards a direction. An explosive sound rang out. The child of darkness retreated and appeared in the air. His expression stiffened as he stared at Qin Wentian. Reality proved that it was like what Qin Wentian said. Devil cultivators were the least threat to him. He had truly obtained the inheritance of the myriad devil sovereign. Although that attack earlier wasn't his true strength, he could sense that it was impossible for him to defeat Qin Wentian. This fellow. The eyes of Bujie, who was spectating from afar, flashed with a strange light. As expected, this was the inheritance of the myriad devil sovereign. Right now, there was no one from the Saint Devil Hall. The myriad devil sovereign that the Devil Mountain believed in had yet to appear, and the inheritor was actually Wu Xiu of the immortal realms. This was truly interesting. Could it be that one day in the future, the Devil Mountain would really bring Qin Wentian over to sit on the throne of the myriad devil sovereign? When he thought of that scene, a smile actually appeared on Bujie's face. Why did he feel that this was so interesting? Dual immortal devil cultivator. Everyone felt their hearts trembling when they saw that short battle. The Devil King of Darkness from the Darkness Devil Hall was forced to admit defeat in just a single clash. It seemed like what Qin Wentian said was true. In the earlier battles, he was still holding back. Now that his identity has been exposed, he would naturally have more methods and would only grow stronger. Among the peak characters in the City of Ancient Emperors, who else would be able to fight against him? In the air, the battle intense of the greater demon sword. This was especially so for the expert from the Gold Sun race who was sitting on the war chariot. His towering battle intent gushed forth, summoning all the peak characters in the City of Ancient Emperors to gather here and compete against each other to see who is the strongest. But right now, it seemed to have become Qin Wentian's personal battlefield. No one could snatch away his radiance. Before this, even when the Sabersword Immortal King killed the Yama King, no one would have expected him to be so powerful. Also, this was under the situation where he was holding back. A startling beam of sunlight transformed into a golden spear that pierced through the heavens and earth, akin to the sun itself as it shot towards Qin Wentian. At this instant, a peak character from the Sun Gold race stood up from his throne, resembling a sun god. Qin Wentian slashed out with his sword. The towering sword intent transformed into a sword river that pierced through the heavens and earth, wanting to destroy the golden spear. The supreme demon king of the Gold Sun race stepped out, bringing with him boundless sunlight as he directly appeared before Qin Wentian. A sun appeared on his back and the golden spear in his hand pierced through the heavens and earth, piercing towards Qin Wentian. At this instant, the heavens and earth seemed to be on fire. The golden sun spear contained the flames of the sun, causing people to be unable to open their eyes. The crowd only saw that Qin Wentian's entire person was enveloped by a screen of sunlight that seemed to be able to incinerate everything. It was like a domain, and as the spear stabbed out, the heavens and earth would be incinerated. Boom! A terrifying demonic might engulfed the heavens and earth, gushing forth from Qin Wentian. His entire person shone with a demonic light as a demonic aura radiated from him. He was like a demon god, the sovereign of the world. Demonic energy, he even cultivated demonic energy. Immortal arts, devil might, demonic arts, he actually cultivated all of them. Many people were shocked. Also, all three of these arts were incomparably tyrannical. The shadow of a Xuanwu divine turtle appeared around Qin Wenyan, exuding a fearsome demonic qi as well as the holy will of the Vajra holy will. Boundless sun fire rained down, yet it was unable to break through this defense. In fact, even the towering flames of destruction from the golden spear couldn't break through this defense. Qin Wenyan waved his hand, unleashing God's hand. Within his palm, there was actually a sky rock sword that exuded a holy will. This sky rock sword was like a golden-winged great rock, capable of destroying everything, causing chaos in the heavens and earth. The sword and the spear collided, destroying everything. Qin Wenyan grabbed out once more, manifesting the might of a divine elephant, infused with the holy will of a pagoda. The pressure bore down on him as the golden sun crow transformed into an incomparably gigantic divine bird. Accompanied by a towering boom, the gigantic golden sun crow was blasted back explosively. It transformed into a beam of light and stabilized itself in a sorry state. It floated in the air as its eyes blazed with blazing sun fire, looking extremely terrifying. "You aren't my opponent. If you all join forces, you might still have a chance." Qin Wenyan calmly spoke, ignoring the ugly expression on the divine bird's face. Chapter 15:12. Arrogant. The greater demon from the gold sun race roared in rage. That nether Ao and the demonic dragon both gleamed with a terrifying demonic light. This brat was too brazen. He actually wanted the peak characters of the desolate mountains to join forces? Only to see at this moment, a scorching heat engulfed the entire space. Numerous suns floated in the air, causing many people to feel as though their bodies were about to be ignited. They retreated again and again. The boundlessly vast space transformed into a sea of sunfire. It was too terrifying. The spectators who had retreated to an extremely far distance all inclined their heads and stared at the dazzling suns. They knew that the greater demon from the gold sun race was truly enraged. Qin Wenyan actually dared to humiliate him like this, saying that he wasn't a match for Qin Wenyan and wanted the peak characters of the demon race to join forces. This was a great humiliation. He wanted to ascend to the peak. If all the demons here were defeated by Qin Wenyan, what did this mean? As long as Qin Wenyan was around, would there be no possibility for them to dominate the immortal realms in the future? Bzz. A scorching wind gusted by. That incomparably gigantic figure floated in the center of the numerous suns. Boundless sun flames frenziedly gathered around him, causing his entire body to glow with a golden light. Even his blood was golden in color and was boiling. He stretched out his claws as a supreme golden sun spear appeared, resembling the golden spear of the sun god. This golden spear was over 1,000 meters long, and the sun flames gushing forth from it were able to incinerate ordinary peak stage immortal kings to death. There was no need to mention how powerful his attacks would be. Too terrifying, he is enraged. The hearts of everyone trembled. This peak stage greater demon from the gold sun race held this gathering. His intentions were clear. He wanted to become an unparalleled character in the city of ancient emperors, dominating the immortal king realm. But after everyone gathered here, this place seemed to have become a stage for Qin Wenyan alone. This human Wuxiu was incomparably arrogant and lawless, cultivating immortal, devil, and demon arts. No one could stand against him. If they couldn't deal with Qin Wenyan, he would definitely ascend to the peak of the city of ancient emperors, peering down at the immortal king realm from above. Qin Wenyan's gigantic body stood there. Resplendent law light flowed around him, causing even peak stage immortal kings to feel their hearts trembling. At this moment, Qin Wenyan stretched out his hand. Boundless devil might churned madly as boundless destructive energy converged into an ancient halberd. This ancient halberd was a true halberd of destruction, the halberd of a devil king. Qin Wenyan was like a supreme devil lord. With a grasp of his hand, the power of God's hand in his body gushed forth. In an instant, terrifying law energy circulated around the ancient halberd, as well as the holy will of the Eastern tomb. When the ultimate art of God's hand was infused with holy will, in addition to his powerful bloodline and law attribute energy, Qin Wenyan himself had no idea how much power he could unleash. But he was sure that in the city of ancient emperors, there wouldn't be many experts who could contend against him. God's hand was originally a secret art that had been lost in time. Although Tao elements were incomparably powerful, it wasn't something that could be comprehended within a short period of time. What these people comprehended was merely the tip of the iceberg. The devil might in the air churned unceasingly as a supreme devil appeared behind Qin Wenyan. Boundless devil law energy infused into the ancient halberd, wanting to destroy everything, wanting to annihilate all lives. The ancient halberd pulsed with a fearsome destructive might, unceasingly destroying the beams of sunlight shooting over. Kill! In the air, numerous suns directly fused into the golden spear, slicing through the air as they shot towards Qin Wenyan. At this instant, even the rays of light could incinerate people, let alone the attack of the golden spear. In the surroundings of the golden spear, numerous terrifying sun crows appeared. They were all clad in golden robes and seemed to have flown out from the sun, capable of annihilating everything. Qin Wenyan's palms abruptly trembled. His devil-godlike body slashed out with the ancient halberd. In an instant, terrifying demonic shadows appeared around the halberd. There were incomparably sharp great rocks, divine elephants that could suppress the heavens and earth, vermilion birds that could incinerate the heavens and earth, primordial beasts that could devour the heavens and earth. Greater demons revolved around the ancient halberd, transforming into a terrifying vortex of destruction. The golden halberd collided with the light of the ancient halberd. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out, causing the entire space to tremble. This was simply terrifying to the extreme. The destructive greater demon brought with it a holy will as it slammed into the divine bird, unceasingly killing it and devouring it into the vortex. The ancient halberd collided with the golden halberd. The light of the sun and the light of destruction were like beams of light from the 9 heavenly layers, raining down frenziedly. The experts in the distance all congregated their law energy to resist. Even for those at the peak, when the shock waves from the collision slammed into them, terrifying rumbling sounds could be heard. A shrill scream rang out. The crowd stared in that direction as the dazzling sunlight dimmed. They saw the golden sun bird floating in the air, its entire body emanating a dark and destructive will. Blood seeped out of its body, and the golden blood resembled the fire of the sun. Blood also flowed out of its sharp mouth, and its eyes were ferocious and terrifying. Qin Wenyan was still standing there proudly, his long robes fluttering in the wind. His demonic qi churned unceasingly, exuding a sense of magnificence. Who else wants to fight? I, Qin, will accompany you all. Qin Wenyan stared at the peak characters in the surroundings as he calmly spoke. At this moment, that supreme beauty from the 9-tailed fox race walked out. Her robes fluttered in the wind and she was like a goddess from the 9 heavens. Her beauty was extremely moving, causing everyone to involuntarily feel a sense of pity in their hearts. Such a supreme beauty, would Qin Wenyan be able to bear to act against her? Sister Goddess, can you not fight with Wenyan? From afar little rascal called out. The fox goddess glanced at him before turning to Qin Wenyan. I want to try out your illusions. Wenyan, don't hurt Sister Goddess. Little rascal called out to Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan stared at the supreme beauty before him and nodded. How do you want to try? I'm also proficient in illusions. Please guide me. The goddess calmly spoke. Her beautiful eyes suddenly gleamed with a demonic light, instantly causing people to sink into a trance. In an instant, Qin Wenyan only felt the beautiful countenance of a goddess from the 9 heavens directly entering the depths of his immortal sense, directly entering his soul. In an instant, there was only that beautiful silhouette left in his mind. Are you willing to accompany me for a lifetime, roaming the world? A voice filled with magic rang out. Qin Wenyan's consciousness felt like it was about to dissipate. This voice continued to reverberate in his mind, causing him to involuntarily agree. In Qin Wenyan's mind, there were 2 illusory figures. They were none other than the 9-tailed fox race's goddess and Qin Wenyan. What do you want me to do? Qin Wenyan asked. Follow me and I will bestow you a lifetime of glory and splendor, The woman spoke in a light voice. Her voice was still filled with a magical power. Strands of mystical energy continued to corrode Qin Wentian's soul. In his soul, countless images of the goddess appeared as many things happened. These things seemed to be something he experienced together with the goddess, wanting to cleanse his past, leaving behind only the experiences he had with her. Qin Wentian nodded. "Are you willing to give up everything for me?" The woman gently spoke. Qin Wentian stiffly nodded. He slowly walked forward and came to the side of the goddess. His knees bent, as though he was about to kneel. The goddess calmly watched this scene. She was still as holy and inviolable as ever, like the most dazzling maiden in the world. Her magnificence was unparalleled, her beauty unmatched, and she didn't seem like a woman of the mortal world. But at this moment, Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered, but he didn't kneel. Instead, he abruptly stepped forward and wrapped his arms around the slender waist of the goddess. In just an instant, the body of the goddess trembled violently as a terrifying light gleamed in her eyes. There was once an extremely beautiful maiden who wanted to do something similar to this. This is my punishment for her. Qin Wentian exerted force, causing the goddess's body to press tightly against his. "How dare you!" The countenance of the goddess drastically changed. After that, she transformed into a phantom and vanished. This caused a bright light to flash in Qin Wentian's eyes. This nine-tailed demon fox goddess was somewhat different from Princess Kitamura. In the external world, the countenance of the nine-tailed demon fox goddess changed. Her robes fluttered as she coldly stared at Qin Wentian. Her aura fluctuated uncontrollably, as expected of the nine-tailed demon fox goddess. Not only is her figure sexy and her beauty unparalleled, you are also proficient in soul illusions. I'm impressed. Qin Wentian smiled. The aura radiating from the goddess was extremely cold. When she heard Qin Wentian praising her figure, she naturally understood what he was hinting at. Her silhouette flashed as she directly departed, causing the experts here to be stunned. Earlier, what happened in the illusory realm? This nine-tailed demon fox goddess was actually angered away by Qin Wentian. At this moment, out of the 5 supreme greater demons of the desolate mountains, Jia Huangtian from the Forak race died, the child of darkness was defeated, the greater demon from the Gold Sun race was heavily injured, and the nine-tailed demon fox goddess left. Only 2 greater demons remained, and the devil cultivator was completely suppressed by him. Qin Wentian truly wanted to use his strength alone to challenge all the supreme greater demons, becoming an unrivaled character in the city of ancient emperors. Boom! The Nether Ao stepped out and a terrifying force of the netherworld seemed to appear in the sky. An extremely ferocious aura erupted and was extremely terrifying. Almost at the same time, that peak stage greater demon from the demon dragon race also stepped out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. His entire body glowed with a terrifying violet light, terrifying to the extreme. The 2 greater demons simultaneously moved towards Qin Wentian. They actually wanted to join forces, causing countless people to sigh in admiration. Qin Wentian was too terrifying. Seems like he was truly unrivaled in the city of ancient emperors. These 2 prideful greater demons actually had to join forces to deal with him. Let's do it together. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. The devil might radiating from him was as strong as ever. With a single glance, 2 beams of supreme sword intent directly pierced through the air, slashing towards the 2 greater demons. The Nether Ao directly reverted to his true form, instantly becoming incomparably malevolent. Terrifying netherworld spikes covered his entire body, even covering his head. When the powerful sword intent slashed over, the netherworld spikes glowed with a ghostly light, directly dissipating the sword intent. As for the demon dragon, he directly punched out, shattering the sword intent. Chapter 1513. So these 2 are the arrogant demons of the desolate mountains who dominated the immortal realms? 2 peak-level experts actually have the face to gang up on my senior brother. Jun Mengchen impolitely mocked. After the demon god mountain appeared, the desolate mountains invaded the immortal realms. Those demonic beasts were extremely arrogant. They had experienced it before in the gazing Emperor City. After these demons invaded the immortal realms, they always thought that the immortal realms would be their world and they would become the kings of this era. That peak-level greater demon from the Sun Gold demon race initiated this confrontation, but no matter what, wasn't he still killed by Qin Wenyan alone? Even the powerful Jia Huangtian from the Forok race was killed on the spot. Many greater demons of the desolate mountains stared at Jun Mingchen in rage. Their killing intent was terrifying. However, in this confrontation between peak-level experts, they were indeed suppressed by Qin Wenyan alone. In this place, only Qin Wentian's radiance shone. Right now, the Netherworld AO and the Purple Blood Divine Dragon joined forces. It was already very embarrassing for them. They hoped that they could kill Qin Wentian to regain some face. At this moment, the two experts rushed towards Qin Wenyan. In an instant, the Netherworld AO had a malevolent expression on his face. A baleful aura enveloped the entire space, and in just an instant, a surge of Netherworld energy manifested. This seemed to be the innate domain of the Netherworld AO. In just an instant, Qin Wenyan only felt his entire body going numb as his strength was restricted. He could even feel a bone-chilling coldness. His gaze swept over the surroundings only to see that this place was like the Netherworld. It was extremely cold and numerous heads appeared, all of them resembling humans. All of them lunged towards Qin Wenyan, looking extremely malevolent and terrifying. The Netherworld AO had always been known for his ruthlessness and cruelty. It was rumored that during ancient times, the Netherworld AO was one of the most ruthless demons. They ate humans as food and committed all sorts of atrocities. And this Nether AO's royal family was even more terrifying. After he devoured human experts, he refined their abilities into his nether hell and used them to attack and fight for him. This kind of innate ability was extremely cruel. Countless divine abilities and Dharma spells flew over, but Qin Wentian's body was still flowing with a shocking light. Bloodline talent, burning transformation. In the blink of an eye, demonic qi engulfed the entire space, becoming even more violent. Around his body, a fearsome golden-winged great rock appeared. This was none other than the demon god's protection ability granted by his bloodline innate talent, the burning transformation. The eyes of this great rock were bright and piercing, just like Qin Wentian's eyes. Both its wings opened up as runic inscriptions revolved around it. The Vajra Holy Will and Sword Holy Will flowed around it. Rustling sounds could be heard as the huge and gorgeous golden wings flickered. The indestructible wings were like the sword of the ancient golden rock king. Dazzling attacks of the great rock kept erupting, crushing all the attacking forces that came whistling over. Qin Wenyan blasted out. His attack was completely synchronized with that of the golden-winged great rock. All of the energy from his attack flowed into the demonic beast shield, directly exploding outwards. In an instant, numerous incomparably resplendent great rocks filled with holy will shot out, blotting out the sky, crushing everything in their path. Is this the innate ability of a human from the immortal realms, Wuxiu? Or is it the demonic art of a greater demon from the desolate mountains? Everyone felt their hearts trembling when they saw this scene. Was this fellow really human? At times, he was like an immortal, and at other times, he transformed into a devil. And now, he could even transform into a true demon. What was even more terrifying was that when he transformed into an incomparably powerful demon god, he could even infuse his own immortal arts and holy wills into it. How terrifying! Everyone only felt that Qin Wenyan was basically invincible. This city of ancient emperors would belong to him. The Nether AO had an unsightly expression on his face. All the fur on his body instantly straightened, resembling sharp spikes that could even open and close. The spikes pierced into the great rock kings, turning them into ice sculptures of the netherworld. As for the purple-blooded divine dragon, his entire body circulated with a violet bloodline, incomparably violent. He punched out, causing the demonic dragon to roar in rage, clashing head-on with the great rock kings. The strength of the demonic dragon was extremely tyrannical, capable of shattering everything. However, Qin Wenyan wasn't fazed at all. The terrifying wings of the golden-winged great rock flapped, opening up a path, shuttling through the air and appearing before the Nether Ao in an instant. Qin Wenyan ignored the attacks and directly cleaved downwards, transforming into a golden rock sword that contained a towering holy will, cleaving apart the world of the Nether Ao as it slashed towards the malevolent-looking body of the Nether Ao. The spikes on the Spirit Ao's body frenziedly pierced out, colliding with the wings slashing downwards. Terrifying demonic techniques erupted forth, but in the face of such a powerful attack, everything was shattered. The spikes were broken as the Spirit Ao howled in rage. Countless heads gushed out, wanting to devour the heavens and earth, wanting to devour Qin Wenyan whole. Go! Qin Wenyan roared, unleashing a supreme attack. The demon divinity protection directly left his body, transforming into an incomparably gigantic golden-winged great rock that broke through all the attacks, rushing towards the Nether Ao's true body. The Nether Ao let out a deafening roar, as though he wasn't fighting against Qin Wenyan, but against the golden-winged great rock instead. Qin Wenyan's eyes gleamed with coldness. Both his palms emitted whistling sounds as a god's hand manifested, suppressing the heavens and earth. The golden-winged great rock slammed towards the Nether Ao, while his other palms slammed out in another direction, towards the direction where the purple-blooded divine dragon was attacking. Terrifying demonic chi ravaged the area, causing a tempest to engulf the heavens and earth. Very swiftly, the Nether Ao let out a roar of pain as he was heavily injured and was forced back. The purple-blooded demonic dragon separated from Qin Wenyan, staring fixedly at Qin Wenyan. At this moment, the god's hand blasted out by Qin Wenyan was incomparably terrifying, containing the great Tao of heaven and earth within, akin to the might of a grand formation. I've said it before, you guys aren't my match. Qin Wenyan emotionlessly spoke. He didn't want to kill anymore. Now that his identity has been exposed, leaving aside himself, he was more worried about implicating the people around him. The Nether Ao let out a malevolent roar. The expression of the purple-blooded demonic dragon turned extremely unsightly. He hasn't unleashed his true strength yet, but from the few clashes he had, it was almost impossible for him to win against Qin Wenyan, who cultivated the three arts. Right now, Qin Wenyan was like a gigantic beast in human form, exuding a towering demonic might. These demonic beasts of the desolate mountains are truly impudent. They actually joined forces to attack Wu Xiu of our immortal realms. Seems like it's time to teach them a lesson. Do they really think that Wu Xiu of our immortal realms doesn't exist? At this moment, a sinister voice drifted over, causing everyone to stare in bewilderment at the person who spoke. This person was a peak character of the immortal realms, a person who hadn't spoken a single word from the start until now. He came from the Beast God sect located in the great snowy mountains of the eastern regions of the immortal realms. Before this, they didn't speak at all. But now that Qin Wenyan clearly didn't fear the two greater demons joining forces, he gave off a strange feeling when he spoke again. Since the demonic beasts of the desolate mountains invited us here, we might as well experience the strength of the desolate mountains' demonic beasts. As the sound of his voice faded, he directly stepped out as a strange black-colored energy enveloped his body. Within the black-colored energy, a pair of resplendent eyes could be seen, giving off a sinister feeling. His silhouette dashed towards the Nether Ao that was injured by Qin Wenyan. Riding on the black clouds, his speed was extremely fast. A terrifying aura of danger gushed forth from the black-colored energy around him, causing the sinister feeling to grow even more intense. The eyes of the Nether Ao gleamed with coldness. Even if he was injured, how could he be so easily bullied? Did this human think he was easy to bully? A thunderous roar shook the heavens and earth. The netherworld appeared once again, incomparably cold. Numerous heads appeared, all of them malevolent and terrifying, flying towards the expert from the Beast God sect. But at this moment, the black clouds on the body of the expert from the Beast God sect instantly rushed out ferociously, engulfing the heavens and earth. In an instant, the vast space was enveloped within, as though it was his law domain. In an instant, the the roars of thousands of beasts shook the heavens and earth. Within the chaotic black clouds, numerous terrifying greater demons appeared. There were all kinds of greater demons, and their eyes were incomparably demonic. However, they seemed to have lost their spirit, as though they had been refined into beasts. Roar! Many demonic beasts in the surroundings let out roars of rage. Their terrifying eyes stared frenziedly at the expert from the beast god sect. They discovered that among the myriad of demonic beasts, there were their missing tribesmen. This person had truly concealed himself very deeply. Qin Wenyan also felt astonished. The expert from the beast god sect controlled the myriad of demonic beasts to unleash a frenzied attack, colliding with the explosive power of the heads, directly crushing everything, destroying everything. He recalled some of the rumors regarding the beast god sect. The beast god sect was known for controlling beasts, able to control greater demons. Seems like the true beast god sect wasn't limited to just this. This person seemed to have refined many greater demons into his beast puppets, becoming his combat strength. As expected, although demonic beasts were violent and powerful, and many of them were extremely terrifying, in terms of cunning and endurance, demonic beasts couldn't be compared to humans. For example, the expert from the beast god sect in front of him. Swishing sounds rang out as countless beast god chains appeared, glowing with a dark light as they directly shot towards the Nether AO. The Nether AO finally sensed danger. He roared in rage as he soared into the sky. How could the expert from the beast god sect let him off? He took a step forward and the myriad of demonic beasts attacked. At the same time, he himself also unleashed an attack. In an instant, it was as though a terrifying devil ape had descended from the heavens, blasting towards the Nether AO. This caused the demonic beasts to be even more enraged. Kill him! Many demonic beasts roared. This expert from the beast god sect was definitely their predator. They had to kill him no matter what. Their roars shook the heavens as numerous demonic beasts rushed over. Kill these humans, Wu Xiu! Another roar rang out, filled with hatred towards humans. This time around, the demonic beasts of the desolate mountains had suffered a crushing defeat, causing the tyrannical might in the bodies of the greater demons to erupt. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. He didn't expect things to turn out like this. Demonic beasts were truly easily angered. His silhouette flashed, ignoring the battle between the expert from the beast god sect and the Nether AO. He transformed into a giant, akin to a god as boundless might circulated around him. His sword intent shook the heavens as he coldly spoke. The agreement today was initiated by a greater demon from the Sun Gold race. If you guys can't accept defeat, don't blame me for starting a massacre. Chapter 1514. Qin Wenyan stood there, resembling a true divinity. Those demonic beasts naturally calmed down as they stared dumbfoundedly at that magnificent figure. Kill the human Wu Xiu? Two of your peak stage greater demons joined forces to deal with Qin Wenyan. Could it be that we, the immortal realm's Wu Xiu, are not allowed to participate in the battle? Someone coldly spoke, his battle intent surging. The demonic beasts all let out low-sounding roars as the experts from the Netherworld AO race all rushed out, wanting to save the Netherworld AO who was trapped. The experts from the Beast God sect also stepped out. They were all hidden in a layer of mist. Boundless chains of darkness whistled through the air, enveloping the entire area, locking down this entire space. Qin Wenyan didn't interfere in the battle over there. Although the methods of that expert from the Beast God sect were somewhat sinister, how could the Netherworld AO not be an extremely cruel greater demon? Just by looking at those heads, one could tell that he must have killed many human wuxiu. With regards to such a greater demon, how could Qin Wenyan have any sympathy for him? It's fine if he just let them kill each other. In the outside world, the clash between the two major powers would naturally cause chaos in the immortal realms. He didn't want all the attention to be focused on him. That violet-blooded demonic dragon stared at Qin Wenyan before glancing at the battle between the expert from the Beast God sect and the Netherworld AO as he sighed in his heart. Seems like after the appearance of the Demon God Mountain, The greater demons of the desolate 10,000 mountain range underwent a transformation, causing the desolate mountains to be too arrogant, looking down on the human geniuses of the immortal realms. This time could be considered a lesson for them. Qin Wenyan felt that it would be hard for him to win against Qin Wenyan. As for that expert from the Beast God sect, he also felt that Qin Wenyan was extraordinary. Wu Xiu, a human, was not like the great demons of the desolate land, who would reveal their violent nature. Some of them hid it very well. Roar! A draconic roar thundered out, shaking the heavens and earth. The purple-blood demonic dragon soared up into the air and departed. Although he hadn't used his full strength in this battle, he knew that he had already lost. The one who stood at the peak of the city of ancient emperors wouldn't be him. In that case, there was no meaning for him to continue staying here. The dragon race naturally had their own pride. He wouldn't stay here and hope for the greater demons of the desolate mountains to fight against humans. That would be meaningless. Miserable cries rang out one after another. That Nether Ao was already struggling at death's door. He was about to be killed by the experts of the God-Beast Church. His methods were cold and terrifying, causing everyone to feel terrified. The mysterious God-Beast Church definitely couldn't be underestimated. Qin Wenyan glanced at the remaining experts. Only the Apostle of the Devil Mountain, the Judiciary Priest, as well as Jiang Zihua of the Immortal Realms and the Reverend of the Wenxin Temple had already participated. Do you guys have any guidance for me? Qin Wenyan stared at them as he asked. My Jiang clan has never had any ill intentions towards Brother Qin. Back then, my younger brother Jiang Ziyu had once invited Brother Qin to join our Jiang clan and treated you as an esteemed guest. Even now, I hope that there will be a chance for Brother Qin to pay a visit to my Jiang clan. Jiang Zihua smiled. Back then, Qin Wenyan already felt that Jiang Ziyu had ulterior motives. Also, his strength back then was extremely weak and he naturally wouldn't go. Now, he wouldn't go either. This Jiang clan was mysterious and unfathomable, yet they cultivated Buddhist arts. Although Jiang Zihua had a warm smile on his face, he still gave off an unfathomable feeling. In fact, even with his eyes of truth, Qin Wenyan couldn't see through Jiang Ziyu's thoughts. If there's a chance, I will pay a visit. Qin Wenyan casually said. His tone was slightly perfunctory, and it was very easy to tell. Yet, Jiang Zihua still smiled and nodded. Then I'll be looking forward to it. After saying this, he turned his gaze towards the eminent monk of Wenxin Temple and said, Grandmaster, you and I have both received the teachings of the Buddhist orthodoxy and have always wanted to find an opportunity to spar with you. Now that this opportunity is right, what do you think, Grandmaster? I have the same intention, the eminent monk of Wenxin Temple calmly replied. If that's the case, many thanks for your guidance, Grandmaster. Jiang Zihua took a step into the air. Buddhist light blazed on his body, and golden light sprinkled over the heavens and earth. His handsome figure emitted the brilliance of the Buddhist path. At a glance, he was still extremely handsome. Grandmaster, please. Jiang Zihua was extremely courteous. It didn't seem like a battle at all, but more like a discussion about the Buddhist path. The eminent monk of Wenxin Temple stood at his original location, radiating Buddhic light. A resplendent lamp appeared above his head, illuminating his body. His countenance was solemn, as though he had already attained the Tao. Bujie's gaze was filled with concern as he stared at the situation here. Although he had entered the myriad devil islands and cultivated the devil arts of the myriad ancient devil hall, his heart was still tied to Wenxin Temple. This is clearly a great battle, yet he is so polite and pretentious. If he isn't transcendent, then he must be extremely evil. From my point of view, it's most probably the latter. Bujie faintly spoke. The devil cultivators beside him glanced at him as one of them laughed. I feel that this Jiang Zihua has quite the demeanor, he seems extraordinary. You cultivate the devil path, how can your judgment be compared to us who cultivate both Buddhists and devils? Both of us have the Buddhist orthodoxy and one of us would definitely be eliminated. In fact, the price might even be death. In such a situation, would you still be so polite to your opponent? Bujie laughed. Naturally not. If it was me, I would directly start a battle and kill him. That devil cultivator coldly replied. That's right, there's something strange going on. You are a life and death opponent, yet you're feigning civility and being too polite. If this isn't evil, what is it? Bujia's tone was unkind, like Jiang Zihua had offended him. The devil cultivator at the side laughed and didn't argue. He could naturally tell that Bujia had some opinions about Jiang Zihua and was very unhappy with him. Maybe it was because Jiang Zihua's opponent was an eminent monk of Wenxin Temple and he was once a disciple of Wenxin Temple. As they spoke, Jiang Zihua and the eminent monk of Wenxin Temple had already started fighting. Both of them cultivated the power of Buddhists and comprehended the Buddhist orthodoxy. Jiang Zihua's Buddhist attacks were unparalleled and had astonishing might. Other than Buddhist attacks, he also had other means of attack. However, the eminent monk of Wenxin Temple used the purest Buddhist attacks. The two of them collided in the air, and terrifying Dharma bodies of Buddhists appeared, engulfing everything in a shocking battle. Qin Wenyin was also watching the battle. At this moment, Jiang Zihua had actually formed thousands of external incarnations, each containing astonishing power. They attacked at the same time, and what was even more terrifying was that each of the external incarnations was actually different from each other. It was like thousands of Dharma spells attacking at the same time, engulfing everything. The eminent monk of Wenxin Temple put his hands together, and endless Buddhist rules floated around him. Ancient runes flashed in the air, accompanied by the echoes of Buddhist chants. A huge golden Buddhist palm was born between heaven and earth, covering the heavens and the earth as it attacked forward. The Buddhist palm was extremely powerful, shattering everything in its path. The supreme Buddhist palm destroyed everything. However, Jiang Zihua suddenly took a step forward, and his body disappeared from where he was. When he reappeared in the next moment, he was directly above the eminent monk of Wenxin Temple. The Buddhist light was boundless, and an incomparably great Buddha pressed down, crushing the heavens and the earth, directly pressing down on the eminent monk of Wenxin Temple. Even the spectators felt their hearts tremble violently. The eminent monk of Wenxin Temple chanted loudly, not moving at all. His hands erupted with a dazzling brilliance, and one of the Buddha beads on his hands shattered. A terrifying Buddhist light enveloped his body, and with a loud rumble, the heavens and earth trembled. The two of them descended at the same time, stepping on the ground. In just an instant, the earth crazily cracked, spreading out like a spider web in all directions. The Buddha beads were destroyed one by one, and suddenly, the Buddhist light was extremely dazzling. A Buddhist golden lotus appeared under his feet, rising up, and the evil vanquishing sword bloomed, rushing towards Jiang Zihua who was stepping on him. However, his own body was rapidly moving forward. However, Jiang Zihua seemed to follow him like a shadow, always stepping on the top of his head, shouting, "Grandmaster, be careful." As the sound of his voice faded, a thunderous rumbling sound rang out. Numerous Supreme Buddhas appeared in all directions, pressing down unceasingly, locking down this entire space. These Buddhas chanted Buddhic chants as boundless attacks blasted towards the Reverend of the Ascart Temple. The eminent monk of Wenxin Temple erupted with a myriad of Buddhist palm imprints, blasting out in all directions, colliding with the Buddhas. However, the attacks were all broken. Seeing the Buddhas rushing over, sealing the sky, the eminent monk of Wenxin Temple chanted again. He put his palms together, and the Buddha beads in his hands were continuously crushed. A glazed Buddhist light appeared on his body, and his entire body was golden, like a treasured body of the Buddhist path, an indestructible Dharma body. No matter how many attacks blasted at him, he remained unmoved, only willing to chant for eternity. "Grandmaster, this junior has offended you," Jiang Zihua said calmly. Jiang Zihua spoke calmly, and in an instant, illusions seemed to appear in the sky. Countless incomparably charming and sexy women appeared, dancing gracefully, imprinting themselves into the mind of the eminent monk of Wenxin Temple. These women seemed to be born from illusions, but they were more real than reality. They kept taking off their clothes, revealing their skin that was whiter than snow, extremely seductive. Even the spectators could see the enchanting scene. This illusion seemed to have turned into a real existence, bewitching people's hearts. Is this also a dharma? Bujia shouted, his expression cold. All dharmas are interlinked, beauties are like skeletons, Jiang Zihua said calmly. The eminent monk of Wenxin Temple continued chanting, well said, beauties are like skeletons, unmoved by the Buddha's heart. Although this was the case, the dance of these seductive women was incomparably beautiful, able to cause people to sink in, constantly approaching the eminent monk. Many spectators felt somewhat uncontrollable when they saw the dance. They knew that this was an extremely powerful dance of bewitchment, wanting to break the Buddha's heart. Despicable! Bujia roared. Qin Wendian glanced at Bujia. Seems like this fellow still had feelings for Wenxin Temple. Finally, a crisp sound rang out. Cracks appeared on the undying Buddha body of the eminent monk of Wenxin Temple. The body of the eminent monk was also cracking apart, with fresh blood seeping out. However, he was still as immovable as a mountain, chanting unceasingly. Stop the battle! Bujia roared in rage, stepping out. The devil cultivators beside him started, but they still followed after him. After all, Bujia's status in the myriad ancient devil hall was extremely high. What do you guys want to do? The experts of the Jiang clan blocked their path. Jiang Ziyu was among them as well. He calmly spoke, even the esteemed monks of the Askheart Temple didn't interfere when peak characters challenged us to a battle. What do you guys from the devil path mean by this? Kill. How could Bujia care so much? He directly waved his hand and gave the command. After speaking, he took the initiative to punch out, directly aiming for Jiang Ziyu. He, Bujia, was a devil cultivator as well as a Buddha cultivator. When he did things, why would he care so much about rules? Bujia, there's no need to interfere. That eminent monk spoke. Clearly, he was acquainted with Bujia. However, cracks appeared on his body as his injuries worsened. Master, Bujia called out, his words causing the hearts of those from the myriad ancient devil hall to tremble as they finally understood something. Qin Wendian's heart also trembled. So it turned out that this reverend was actually the master of Bujia. Chapter 15:15. The battle between Jiang Zihua and the reverend continued. Qin Wendian glanced at the battlefield. If this continued, Bujia's master would most probably be killed by Jiang Zihua. Jiang Zihua, we are all from the immortal realms. Although we are fighting for the city of ancient emperors, victory or defeat has already been determined. There's no need for us to die. Qin Wendian spoke, expressing his stance. His meaning was clear. He wanted Jiang Zihua to stop his attacks on the Reverend of Wenxin Temple. Since the Reverend was Bujia's master, he couldn't possibly ignore it no matter what. Brother Qin, I and the Reverend cultivate the same Tao element. Jiang Zihua calmly spoke. Qin Wendian naturally understood his meaning. Between the two of them, one would die. Even if we are from the same Tao element, there's no need to take the other's life. Qin Wendian spoke. The Reverend below still had his palms pressed together, resembling an ancient Buddha. No matter how injured he was, the Reverend was as immovable as a mountain. He calmly spoke, Tao friend Qin, this monk is grateful for your kind intentions. However, this is my battle, I will settle it myself. Qin Wendian glanced at the Reverend. Upon seeing his golden body shattering, he asked, Reverend, why must you do this? If one doesn't enter hell, how can they see through my Buddha? This is my path. The Reverend radiated resplendent Buddhic light, as though he was about to undergo nirvana. Master, Bujia shouted loudly. Qin Wendian, help me. Qin Wendian was in a difficult position. He initially wanted to interfere, but the Reverend didn't allow him to. Also, although the Reverend's tone was calm, given his cultivation base, his state of heart would surely be extraordinary. Since he said this, his will must be extremely firm, and he already had the heart to transcend. Foolish child, don't talk nonsense. You cultivate freedom and do as you please. Now that you've entered the devil path, you should cultivate well. Don't let the filth of the world taint your heart. The Reverend spoke in a solemn manner. Jiang Zihua laughed. Reverence cultivation base is extraordinary. I, Jiang, am inferior. Although he said so, his attacks became even more violent and violent. He wanted to kill the eminent monk of the Wenxin temple. A cold light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes, and then he saw that the Buddha's aura on the master of Wenxin temple was shining to the extreme, making it hard for people to open their eyes. As the Buddha's aura became one, a beam of light shot up to the sky and turned into a dazzling lamp, like a Buddhist relic. Bujie roared. Demonic light surged around him as numerous demon kings appeared. They transformed into powerful wills, intending to kill Jiang Ziyu on the spot. This is my path. Bujie, don't be sad. We will meet again someday. A voice came from the lamp. It was incomparably ethereal. Soon after, the light dissipated and gradually disappeared. Bujie recalled all the details of his childhood, and his heart was filled with boundless sadness. He was an orphan and was very mischievous when he was young. When he was found by his master, he was brought to the Wenxin temple to be raised and taught the way of Buddhism. Jiang Ziyu inclined his head and stared at the sky. He bowed slightly. Reverence cultivation base is so high that I, Jiang, am truly ashamed. Brother Jiang's strength is also something that I, Qin, admire. Since the peak characters of the city of ancient emperors are contending against each other today, I shall take this opportunity to experience Brother Jiang's capabilities. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, boundless law energy circulated around him as his devil intent towered up into the sky, causing the expressions of the experts in the surroundings to stiffen. Qin Wentian was going to act against Jiang Ziyu. Seems like he was very unhappy that Jiang Ziyu didn't stop earlier. Qin Wentian wanted to settle the score. As expected, those with strength would always be willful. Jiang Ziyu's eyes flashed with a strange light. There was no time for him to consider. Qin Wentian directly blasted out a palm imprint towards him. The palm imprint of the devil path contained boundless might, like the palm of a devil god, exuding a fearsome destructive might. The holy will of the pagoda was infused into the palm imprint, causing it to be like the palm of a devil god, wanting to destroy everything. At this moment, Jiang Ziyu basically had no choice. Qin Wentian directly acted, not holding back at all. He had no choice but to fight even if he didn't want to. Buddhic light radiated from him as many ancient Buddhas appeared around him. All of them blasted out Buddhist palm imprints at the same time, aiming for the devil palm imprint. The palm imprints were like fiend gods, capable of destroying everything. The Buddhic palm imprints shattered unceasingly, crushing everything in its path as it rushed towards Jiang Ziyu. Jiang Ziyu folded hands seals as a golden Buddha statue manifested in front of him. The gigantic golden Buddha statue blasted out with both its palms, blasting outwards in a straight line. The two attacks collided, finally shattering Qin Wentian's palm imprints. Behind Qin Wentian, a devil god appeared. God's hand transformed into a devil palm imprint that blasted out once more, blotting out the sky. Jiang Ziyu transformed into thousands of incarnations. A resplendent Buddhic light flashed as his true body vanished. A terrifying pressure bore down on Qin Wentian's head. A supreme Buddhist might gushed forth from the air. This entire space seemed to be suppressed. Qin Wentian glanced over. Boundless holy will transformed into a towering sword river, wanting to destroy everything. At the same time, in just an instant, Jiang Ziyu only felt himself appearing in another space. In this place, he stood alone in the air. Qin Wentian's silhouettes appeared around him, boundless and endless. All of them were Qin Wentian. His eyes shone with Buddhic light, able to see through all illusions. His true body howled in rage as he slashed downwards, wanting to destroy Qin Wentian's true body. A demonic divinity protection appeared around Qin Wentian as he transformed into the Xuanwu divine turtle. He also had the Vajra holy will, allowing Jiang Ziyu to trample on him without moving an inch. At the same time, the numerous figures of Qin Wentian in the illusionscape all launched their attacks. Thousands of palm imprints manifested, causing the heavens and earth to fall silent as devilish pressure bore down on them. Jiang Ziyu once again transformed into a myriad of Buddha incarnations that revolved around him, blasting out countless Buddhic imprints. At the same time, a resplendent beam of light flashed as Jiang Ziyu leaped through the air to escape. His true body also instantly appeared in a faraway location, but it was useless. In the illusionscape, no matter how far away he was, Qin Wenyan would still appear before him in an instant. The pagoda law energy descended, enveloping the heavens and earth. Hence, the spectators saw a strange scene. Jiang Ziyu's body appeared again. He was clearly far away from Qin Wenyan, yet he was still frenziedly defending and attacking. Qin Wenyan stood at his original location, but his law energy was also frenziedly being consumed. The laws of the dream world could be real, but since they were real, law energy had to be consumed. At this moment, Qin Wenyan also moved. He soared through the air and directly moved towards Jiang Ziyu. A palm imprint swept forth, sweeping over everything. Jiang Ziyu's expression drastically changed. He could sense that he was currently being attacked by two different spatial dimensions. A thunderous boom rang out as Jiang Ziyu's Buddha body shattered. His body was flung through the air as he coughed out a mouthful of blood. However, Qin Wenyan also stopped his attacks. He stood arrogantly in the air and coldly stared at Jiang Ziyu. Sparring? Brother Jiang wouldn't mind, right? Qin Wenyan calmly spoke, forcefully retorting to Jiang Ziyu's earlier decision to not stop the battle. Jiang Ziyu's heart was cold, but there was no expression on his face. He smiled at Qin Wenyan. Brother Qin's strength is truly extraordinary. No one in the city of ancient emperors can contend against you. Jiang Ziyu is truly impressed. The people in the surroundings all felt shock in their hearts. They also felt that what Jiang Ziyu said was true. Qin Wenyan most probably had no opponents in the city of ancient emperors. When the saber-sword immortal king fused with Qin Wenyan, he no longer had anything to fear. He could unleash his full combat prowess, and there was already no one who could contend against him. He could deal with whoever he wanted to deal with. Before this, Qin Wenyan told Jiang Ziyu to stop, but Jiang Ziyu refused. Hence, Qin Wenyan directly injured and humiliated him. How domineering was this? If it wasn't for the reverend from the Wenxin temple telling him not to interfere, Qin Wenyan would have already taken care of Jiang Ziyu. Brother Jiang praises me too much. Qin Wenyan calmly spoke. He directly flicked his sleeves and departed. At this moment, the people from the Jiang clan and the myriad ancient devil hall stopped fighting. They were all staring at Qin Wenyan, and the expressions of the people from the Jiang clan were all unfriendly. Jiang Ziyu's gaze when he stared at Qin Wenyan was a little complicated. Back then when he first met Qin Wenyan, they were still in the Namhuang clan. At that time, Qin Wenyan helped Namhuang Yunqi to obtain the position of the holy successor while he was helping another holy maiden. At that time, Qin Wenyan's cultivation base was inferior to him. But now, in the immortal king realm, there was no one from the Jiang clan who could suppress Qin Wenyan. As for him, Qin Wenyan had already been left far behind by Qin Wenyan. Bujia, Reverend has already made up his mind. It's not good for me to go against his will. Also, Reverend also said that we would meet again in the future. Most probably, Reverend has not truly died yet. Qin Wenyan stared at Bujia as he spoke. Bujia nodded. He could understand Qin Wenyan. It was just that his master had vanished under Jiang Ziwa's attack. He couldn't help but feel sad. He hoped that his master didn't lie to him and that they would meet again in the future. The Tao of the Buddhist sect was boundlessly marvelous. There were some abilities that ordinary people couldn't fathom. For example, relic cultivation, afterlife cultivation, etc. If it was said that his master might still be alive, he would also believe it. In another direction, the expert from the Beast God sect finished off the Nether Ao. His strength also caused many people to feel fear in their hearts. Right now, only 3 people still had a chance to challenge Qin Wenyan. That expert from the Beast God sect, and the 2 experts from the Devil Mountain. In fact, the 2 experts from the Devil Mountain hadn't even acted yet. Brother Qin, if there's a chance, let's go to the Devil Mountain again. The apostle from the Devil Mountain smiled. Qin Wenyan glanced at him and nodded. Sure, if there's a chance, I will go there again. Farewell. The apostle departed. The priest from the judiciary devil hall cast a deep glance at Qin Wenyan, but he had no intentions to act. He turned and returned to the camp of the judiciary devil hall. The expert from the beast god sect was satisfied after hunting down the Nether Ao. He didn't say anything and directly led the experts from the beast god sect away. No one else dared to challenge Qin Wenyan. This time around, he dominated all the peak characters in the city of ancient emperors. No one could be his opponent. Who would have thought that it would actually be him? Before this, many people didn't expect this. As for those enemies of Qin Wenyan, their eyes all gleamed with coldness. This time around, not only did they fail to kill Qin Wenyan, they even allowed him to stand at the peak of the city of ancient emperors. In the future, no one would dare to act against him unless they left the city of ancient emperors. Chapter 15-16. For the battle between the peak characters of the city of ancient emperors, countless experts came to spectate. In the end, Qin Wenyan's magnificence was unrivaled. It was just that whether he could grow to become an unrivaled character in the immortal realms or not, many people were doubtful. Although there were many experts in the city of ancient emperors who fought against each other before, there was no one like Qin Wenyan, offending so many powerful enemies. In addition to the grudges he had in the eastern regions of the immortal realms, it was unknown how many people wanted him dead. Just in the city of ancient emperors, there were already many people who wanted to kill him. It was just that they couldn't do so, hence, they chose to wait patiently, not daring to act. From the perspective of immortals, devils, and demons, this time around, the devil cultivators didn't participate in the battle at all. As for the demon cultivators, they were defeated miserably because they fought against Qin Wenyan. After that, the peak experts of the beast god sect killed the Nether Ao. Staring at that figure who stood proudly in the air, countless people couldn't help but to sigh. In the city of ancient emperors, there were many who knew of Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan didn't leave immediately. His eyes flashed and he would occasionally glance in a certain direction. A cold light gleamed within, containing killing intent, causing those who were stared at by him to feel their hearts trembling uncontrollably. Among these people, the vast majority of them were those who wanted to act against Qin Wenyan when the saber-sword immortal king said that he could use Qing Air to threaten Qing Air. Although they didn't really act, Qin Wenyan had already noticed their intentions. Many of these people had grudges against him. Hence, Qin Wenyan's killing intent was truly stirred. He was considering whether to kill or not to kill. After weighing the pros and cons, Qin Wenyan didn't act immediately. His silhouette flashed as he returned to Qing Air's side. Qing Air's eyes were filled with hidden bitterness as she stared at Qin Wenyan. Although she had witnessed Qin Wenyan's unparalleled strength, she couldn't help but be worried for him in her heart. After exiting the city of ancient emperors, Qin Wenyan would surely face a calamity, a great calamity. However, she didn't say much. She just walked quietly to Qin Wenyan's side and held his hand. No matter what tribulation it was, she would face it together with Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan could feel the warmth of Qing Er's palms. He smiled gently at her as he stroked her hair. There was no need for words to be spoken. "Senior brother Qin, you're in the limelight this time. You don't know how many people are jealous of you, and there are also many beauties looking at you with coquettish eyes." Jun Mingchen walked over and joked, his words causing Qin Wenyan to glare at him. Jun Mingchen sneakily glanced at Qing'er as he scratched his head and smiled. "Naturally, I can't be compared to sister-in-law." Numerous figures flashed over, walking to Qin Wenyan's side as they greeted, "Young master." Qin Wenyan glanced at them. These were none other than the experts from the Battle Saint tribe who came to the city of ancient emperors to temper themselves. This time around, they also came here to spectate, but they didn't expect to see the Saint Lord here. Right now, they finally understood why the Saint Lord could become the Saint Lord. Back then when they joined the Battle Saint tribe, they were just at the Immortal King realm. But now, they were already unrivaled in the Immortal King realm. "Not bad, all of you have improved greatly." Qin Wenyan smiled at the experts from the Battle Saint tribe. They were all together, not a single one of them had died. Also, the improvement of their strength was clear to see. The experts from the Battle Saint tribe were proficient in group battles. As long as they were together, it wouldn't be easy to deal with them. Wenti and Gidge. A melodious voice rang out. The Judiciary Priestess, by Qing, walked over. She took off her crown and her long black hair cascaded down her shoulders like a waterfall. Her tall and slender figure, as well as her pure and flawless countenance, coupled with the long robes she wore, exuded a heroic aura. Little lass Qing. Qin Wendian smiled as he walked over, patting Bai Qing's head as his gaze was filled with warmth. Bai Qing smiled sweetly. Back then when Qin Wendian left the Myriad Devil Islands, she personally sent Qin Wendian off. At that time, she thought that it would be impossible for them to meet again in this lifetime. Upon seeing Qing walking over, Bai Qing's gaze landed on her as a strange light flashed in her eyes. After that, when she saw Qin Wendian gently looking at Qing, she also called out, "Elder Sister Qing." Back in the particle world, she had participated in the same batch of heavenly fate rankings as Qin Wendian and Qing. They were already acquainted with each other. Little Sister Qing, our names are very similar. Qing, who had always been as cold as ice, had a smile on her face as she spoke in a light voice. Your Wendian Gidge also often mentions you. He misses you very much. Wendian Gidge, is that true? Bai Qing smiled radiantly. Of course it's true. I've always been missing my little lass Qing. Qin Wendian's skin was extremely thick as he spoke. It was true that he missed her, but he had never mentioned her in front of Qing before. However, although Qing lied, Qin Wendian felt warmth in his heart. Qing was trying to accept everything around him, doing her part as a wife. Given Qing's personality, this was truly too difficult for her. Jun Mingchen, who was at the side, kept his eyes on the two beauties surrounding Qin Wendian. Both of them were gentle and charming, but as an outsider, why did he feel that the atmosphere was so strange? Qin Wendian. A cold voice rang out. Qin Wendian turned his gaze over and saw GD's disciple, Immortal King Junyi. Qin Wendian couldn't help but have an awkward expression on his face when he saw her glaring at him. He then called out, Immortal King Junyi. GD's followers were also staring at Junyi, worried that she would take things too hard. Even Qing was clearly a little nervous. Puchi. But at this moment, Immortal King Junyi suddenly broke into a charming smile. She smiled at Qin Wendian. You have truly lied to us. You clearly have your little lover by your side, yet you still pretended to be in love with him. Are you not tired? When everyone saw the expression on Immortal King Junyi's face, they all felt at ease. They glanced at each other and nodded lightly. Qin Wendian also smiled. There's no other way. My identity has been exposed and I can even be killed by a gaze. If it wasn't for the fact that I have some strength, I'm afraid I wouldn't have lived past today. Since this is the case, I will reluctantly forgive you. In the future, you better not bully my junior sister Qing, or I won't spare you. Immortal King Junyi didn't mention anything about the awkward incident earlier. She smiled and teased Qin Wendian. How would I dare? It's fine as long as Qing doesn't bully me. Qin Wendian shrugged, glancing at Qing beside him. Upon seeing that her senior sister was fine, Qing's smile grew more radiant as she held onto Qin Wendian's hand tightly. Alright, it's time for us to leave. I'm not used to being stared at by so many people. Qin Wendian joked. Only now did everyone discover that the gazes of everyone were focused on them. Qin Wendian was simply too dazzling, attracting the attention of everyone. Everyone nodded and soared into the air, departing this place. Everyone stared at the departing figures of Qin Wendian as they sighed with emotions in their hearts. This was an unrivaled character in the city of ancient emperors. Would he be able to walk to the peak of the immortal realms alive? Most probably, it would be extremely difficult. Su Qingyao was among the crowd. Her beautiful eyes stared at the departing figures as she sighed silently in her heart. The saber-sword immortal king, Qin Wendian. The experts from ZD's Violet Mountain gathered together. They exchanged mutual glances and one of them spoke. The task master has given us seems to be extremely difficult to accomplish. What should we do? Since he is Qin Wenyan, this hatred must have been formed between master and him. Back then, master once tried to kill him on the Demon God Mountain. In the city of ancient emperors, it's impossible for us to kill Qin Wenyan. We can only report this matter to master. Another person replied. Everyone nodded and departed. The other experts also departed. Although there were many people in the city of ancient emperors who wanted to kill Qin Wenyan, no one dared to do so. Qin Wenyan and the others came to an ancient peak. Many people were gathered here, and the atmosphere was extremely lively. Qin Wenyan glanced at his good friends, feeling a sense of consolation in his heart. Qin Wenyan, this time around, you have truly offended many major powers. Once you exit the city of ancient emperors, there would surely be a large number of immortal emperors who want to kill you. An expert from the Namhuang clan reminded. Back then in the eastern regions, there was a huge commotion caused by Qin Wenyan. But at that time, there were many experts standing behind Qin Wenyan and they managed to resolve the commotion. But now, most probably, the strength behind Qin Wenyan was no longer sufficient. Even if their Namhuang clan interfered, it wouldn't be enough. Qin Wenyan nodded. Senior brother, before this, there were many people who wanted to kill you. When your identity was exposed, many of them prepared to act against sister-in-law to force you to admit it. After the battle ended, why didn't you find them to settle the debt? Jun Mingchen asked. Before this, I've already considered it. Since I've already offended them, why don't I just kill them all and weaken their strength in the future? It's just that after I considered the fact that the major powers behind those people would be completely enraged and they might vent their anger on others other than me. Hence, I decided to give up. Qin Wenyan glanced at the people around him. The eyes of Qing and the others flashed as they sighed in their hearts. At this moment, how could they not understand what Qin Wenyan was referring to? He had many enemies, but Qin Wenyan still hoped that if these enemies wanted to target him, they would only target him and not implicate those around him. Hence, he decided to spare those people. If not, if Qin Wenyan wanted to take things seriously, the entire city of ancient emperors would surely be plunged into a storm of blood. It was unknown how many immortal kings would die. That's fine as well. I won't touch them. At the very least, in the city of ancient emperors, no one would dare to touch you guys. Qin Wenyan smiled. Let's temporarily spare them. If I die, so be it. But if I manage to escape this calamity, those who want to kill me will all be reduced to dust. The expressions of everyone turned solemn. They could all sense the sorrow in Qin Wenyan's voice. Most probably, even Qin Wenyan himself understood that this calamity might very well be a death calamity. Senior brother, nothing will happen. We still have to conquer the immortal realms together and ascend to the peak of the immortal realms. Jun Mingchen spoke. Qin Wenyan smiled and nodded. Okay, let's go together. Little rascal stretched out its little head and spoke in a childish manner. Qin Wenyan slapped little rascal. Also, you better hurry up and cultivate. Don't be lazy and take advantage of others all the time. Be careful that I don't cripple you. Little rascal shrank his neck and jumped onto Qin Er's shoulder. His little paws patted his chest as he spoke. You scared this Bao to death. Ah. Everyone laughed when they saw little rascal acting like a bastard. The worry in their hearts dissipated. However, many people silently vowed in their hearts that they would definitely grow stronger and not let anything happen to Qin Wenyan. However, when they thought of those peak powers, they still felt how insignificant their strength was. They needed more time. Chapter 15-17. The commotion in the city of ancient emperors never stopped. However, there was no storm that could surpass the battle between peak experts. That time, the strongest experts in the city of ancient emperors gathered. After that battle, Qin Wenyan's name resounded through the entire immortal realms. Everyone in the immortal realms knew of Qin Wenyan's name. After that battle, Qin Wenyan could be said to have become a god in the city of ancient emperors. It would be tough for anyone to surpass him. The Tao elements in the city of ancient emperors allowed the strength of countless people to improve. Time flowed by silently. To the stellar martial cultivators at the Immortal King realm, even 100 years would pass by in the blink of an eye. The vast majority of them were Wu Xiu who had cultivated for thousands of years. In fact, there were even some who had cultivated for more than 10,000 years. And this was because the majority of them belonged to the major powers with outstanding talent. Another 8 years passed and finally, an expert who stepped into the Immortal Emperor realm appeared in the city of ancient emperors. Out of the expectations of many, this person was actually the esteemed reverend of the Wenxin temple who was killed by Jiang Zihua back then. He was also the master of Bujia. There were people who saw the scene when he broke through to the Immortal Emperor realm. In fact, there were many who saw it because the commotion caused was too great. That day, a boundless Buddhic light appeared out of nowhere, descending from the heavens and landing on a desolate land. This light was too dazzling, attracting the attention of countless experts. After that, they saw the reverend of the Ascart temple who was killed by Jiang Zihua reviving. His body was reforged and under the guidance of the Buddhic light, the reverend left this space, vanishing from sight. There were naturally rules in the city of ancient emperors. Since one has broken through to the Immortal Emperor realm, they naturally couldn't stay here any longer. After Bujia heard the news, he was extremely excited. His disappointment was completely swept away. His master was still his master after all. He truly had his own way of cultivation. Seems like Jiang Zihua might have won the battle with Jiang Zihua, but the moment his master ascended to the Immortal Emperor realm, it was hard to say who was the victor. Maybe Jiang Zihua was the one who became his master. The experts from the ancient emperor's faction all felt the same way. It seemed like the battle between the two of them would have to wait until they reached the Immortal Emperor realm. It was still too early to talk about who would win. After many years passed, the second Immortal Emperor was born. But this time around, the Immortal Emperor wasn't one of those peak characters. Instead, it was a person named Wu Xiu who wasn't that famous. At the very least, he wasn't that famous in the city of ancient emperors. He was a peak-stage immortal king from the Shooting Sun Kingdom who had cultivated for many years and had already broken through to the Immortal Emperor realm. This caused hope to appear in many people's hearts. There was no longer a need to stare at those peak characters. Although their combat prowess was strong, they might not be able to step into the Immortal Emperor realm earlier. For example, Qin Wendian hasn't even stepped into the peak stage of the Immortal King realm yet. In fact, when he participated in that battle, there were people who said that he was only at the initial stage of the Immortal King realm. However, would anyone dare to judge his combat prowess based on his cultivation base? Many supreme characters with unrivaled combat prowess might not even be able to reach the pinnacle of the Immortal King realm. They still had room for improvement before they had a chance to step into the Immortal Emperor realm. As for those supreme characters who exuded boundless magnificence, they were all much calmer now. They rarely appeared in public. Maybe they were silently comprehending the Tao elements or comprehending the Tao of immortal emperors, seeking a chance to break through. Time flowed by. Many people couldn't even remember how many years had passed since that battle. In the city of ancient emperors, there was a mountain that was bathed in the divine light of the sun. It was incomparably resplendent, and there were even some who wanted to challenge the position of those peak characters, wanting to be the strongest in the city of ancient emperors. Time flowed by. Many people couldn't even remember how many years had passed since that battle. In the city of ancient emperors, there was a mountain that was bathed in the divine light of the sun, incomparably resplendent. It was as though the sun itself was cascading down from the sky, incomparably holy. Time flowed by. Many people already couldn't remember how many years had passed since that battle. In the city of ancient emperors, there was a mountain that was bathed in the divine light of the sun, incomparably resplendent. Regardless of the greater demons of the desolate mountains or the experts of the immortal realms, who didn't know about the strength of the sun gold race. However, today, there was someone who came to this place and even entered the cultivation grounds of the gold sun race. This person was clad in white and had a slender figure. His features were handsome and his long hair cascaded down his shoulders, exuding an incomparably carefree aura. His eyes were like the abyss, unable to see the bottom. This figure quietly stood below the Sun Mountain, allowing the heat waves to blast over, causing his white robes to flutter. He simply stood there with his hands clasped behind his back and calmly glanced ahead, as though he was waiting for something. Who? At this moment, a resplendent beam of light shot over as the temperature abruptly rose. A terrifying greater demon appeared, his entire body bathed in flames, and an illusory sun could be seen above his head. This was none other than the greater demon from the Gold Sun race, a fusion between the Golden Crow race and the Divine Bird. His fiery body seemed to be forged from gold. It was unknown how strong his defenses were. "It's you!" When he saw the figure before him, his lofty eyes flashed with a terrifying killing intent. Sun flames shot out from his eyes, penetrating through space, wanting to incinerate his opponent. The young man continued standing there, his immeasurably deep eyes stared at his opponent. At this instant, the young man's eyes turned extremely terrifying, as though they could revolve. Those weren't a pair of eyes, but a world of samsara. Just a single glance from him was enough to cause one to fall into a trap, unable to extricate themselves. The sun flames in his opponent's eyes gradually dimmed as his lofty eyes turned dim. After that, he seemed to have encountered something extremely terrifying. His eyes were filled with terror as his body trembled violently. With a flap of his wings, he soared into the distance, causing thunderous rumbling sounds to shake the heavens and earth. At this moment, the golden body of his opponent that was bathed in sun flames actually slammed into the ancient mountain, directly penetrating through it, causing sand and gravel to fly everywhere. He let out a shrill scream of misery as he rushed towards the sun flames, only to see numerous powerful figures rushing towards him. "Stop!" An expert from the Sun Gold race roared. There were also experts from the Sun Gold race who spoke in the language of beasts. However, it was useless. They could only watch as that human from the Sun Gold race crazily tormented himself, tearing his body apart. Finally, he floated in the air as he screamed in agony. In an instant, his wings were torn apart as the flames of nirvanic extermination frenziedly burned his body, wanting to incinerate even his blood vessels. After that, his body exploded, transforming into a rain of fire and blood. The experts from the Sun Gold race stared in shock at this scene as wild waves rose in their hearts. They had no way to understand why something like this would happen. As though they sensed something, their gazes abruptly turned over, staring at the young man in white. In an instant, their killing intent gushed forth frenziedly. "You were the one who did this?" An expert coldly spoke. His silhouette flashed as he appeared before the young man. "Back then you killed my clansmen, but I didn't kill you. You actually dared to return?" Numerous experts from the Sun Gold race reverted to their true forms. Numerous terrifying suns floated in the air, radiating light from their domains that enveloped the young man in white. However, that young man was still as calm as ever, standing there with his hands behind his back. His eyes seemed to revolve as he swept his gaze over the greater demons from the Sun Gold race. In just an instant, the bodies of many greater demons trembled violently. After which, the expressions in their eyes changed as well, no longer as bright as before. All the demonic beasts that passed by had strange expressions on their faces, as though they were experiencing a different scene. However, the result was shockingly the same. As long as they weren't peak-level demon kings, they immediately fell into a state of madness and began to kill their companions. They were incomparably violent, completely forgetting where they stood, forgetting who they were. Their eyes had completely fallen, and there was only madness left. What was even more terrifying was that they didn't even know that they had already lost their rationality. Only the peak characters were still struggling bitterly. Their bodies trembled unceasingly. A late-stage peak-stage greater demon king maintained a clear look in his eyes. He stared at the slaughter in the surroundings and let out a howl of rage, wanting to wake his clansmen up. However, it was useless. It was like everything he did was futile. "What did you do to them?" That peak-stage expert howled in madness. The young man didn't seem to hear his words. He stared at him and spoke. Now, do you all feel regret for killing her back then? I have no idea. Quickly stop. That peak stage expert roared in rage. You have no idea? The expression of the young man was so calm that it was terrifying. I have no idea. After I found out, I didn't see any of you repenting. Instead, you all chased after me. Since this is the case, the Sun Gold race should first vanish from the city of ancient emperors before vanishing from the immortal realms. The young man calmly spoke, as though he was speaking of an insignificant matter. His tone was so cold, so terrifying. His eyes turned even more terrifying. Those high-stage demon kings who were still struggling also started to go crazy. After that peak-stage immortal king felt that his eyes couldn't see anything else. In his mind, all the scenes he had experienced appeared. Every scene was so realistic. He did not experience much, nor did he feel what the other experts of the same race had experienced. Because a silver spear pierced through his head, directly piercing through his golden head and nailing him to death in the void. The white-robed figure stepped on his gigantic body and walked past. There was no reluctance, he didn't even turn his head back. Behind him, those greater demons who were still alive were still struggling bitterly. But their fates were already determined. That white-robed figure ascended the mountain. Inside, the demon king of the Sun Gold demon race, who had once issued a challenge to the peak characters of the city of ancient emperors, opened his eyes as a towering killing intent gushed forth, engulfing this entire space. Everyone in this vast space could clearly sense it. Countless people inclined their heads and stared at the Sun Gold demon race, feeling the towering killing intent as well as the beams of sunlight shooting up into the sky. Many experts rushed over there as great waves rose in their hearts. Finally, there was someone who dared to challenge the peak characters of the city of ancient emperors. Not long after, the intense fluctuations calmed down. When the first expert rushed over, the scene he saw caused his body to tremble violently, as though he couldn't believe what he saw. He inclined his head, only to see a white-robed figure slowly walking away, so carefree and carefree. His silhouette flashed as he sped towards the sun mountain. The flames of the sun gradually extinguished. When he arrived at the peak, his body trembled even more violently. He was so frightened that his legs turned soft. Before him, an incomparably gigantic greater demon, the strongest peak stage demon king of the Sun Gold race, was currently lying on the sun mountain. His gigantic head rolled to the side, but his eyes were still open. He died with a grievance. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.